is against to be determined for the Rockies. First pitch is set for 5:40. In NFL news, days before the draft, the Niners and offensive lineman Trent Williams agreed on a 2-year, $50 million extension. Williams is going to get 37 fully guaranteed, including $22 million in signing bonuses. And we got NBA first round game 2s tonight. We got Raptors and Cavs at 4:00, Hawks Knicks at 5, and Timberwolves Nuggets at 7:30. Lakers Rockets game 2 is tomorrow night. You can hear that right here on San Diego Sports 760. Pregame coverage starts at 7:15, and we'll have the tip at 7:30. Capital One offers no fees or minimums on checking accounts, and most Capital One cafes are open 7 days a week to assist you with your banking needs. What's in your wallet? Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com/bank. Capital One NA, member FDIC.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? We're back on a Monday afternoon, week 4 of Schaefer and Sliwa. It's like when you have a newborn. I didn't plan to go here, by the way, Alan, and I don't have a newborn, and I don't think you do either.
I still like the analogy.
But you know where I'm going here? Like, there's a point in time when you have a child. Kevin Acee, by the way, will join us at 3:30. Mm-hmm. Chris Johnson, San Diego State outstanding corner, could go in the first round. Hopefully goes in the first round Thursday. He'll join us live at 4 p.m. When you have a newborn, there's a period of time when you tell people how many weeks your child is. 10-week-old.
Right.
But there becomes a week where I'm like, this is awkward. Why am I telling someone I have a 59-week-old?
Yeah, you don't probably just now start doing months.
Right.
Start doing years. Yeah.
So when do we do it with the show? This is the 4th week. Would you say week 6? Would you say week 8? Or would you say we've been doing the show for a couple of months? Once you're 6 or 8 weeks into the show. I feel like week 4 is appropriate to say.
Week 4 is appropriate. I think you start getting into like week 10, and people are like, why don't you just say 2.5 months?
Right? Week 191, like just say 3.5 years.
I think that's the cutoff. I think the cutoff is
10?
Like 7 weeks is, I think, when you stop saying weeks. Because after that, you're at 2 months. Now you go 2 months, 2.5 months.
Right.
Round it off. And then people are going to be like, I don't care. Why do you keep telling me how long you've been doing a show with Al with? I think now it's gonna start becoming a negative thing.
Yeah, I don't even think they care right now that I decided to have this conversation. Let's get to the Padres because Kevin Acee will join us at 3:30. They've won, Alan. They've won 13 of 15.
Nothing. This is what they do.
They are a half game out in their division. I know it's only April. I'm not overly concerned about that, but they've won 13 of 15. Honestly, it's very reminiscent of their start from last year. Last year they were 14-3. You look up right now. What's their overall record right now? I should know that. What are they? 15-7?
15-7.
Yes. 50. I mean, it's very similar to what they did last year. So on one hand, I remember last year, I'm like, oh my gosh, this team's going to the World Series. They're 14-3. And right now, I'm like, man, this team's playing as well as any team right now in baseball. I think there's ESPN Power Rankings that have the Padres at 3rd. Like, are we willing to go all in on that? Like, is this who they are? Are they going to play 60 baseball all season, or do we need to be tempered based on the fact that they're in the NL West and we saw what played out last year when they started 14-3?
I kind of had this feeling last year when they got off to such a great start. And by the way, let's not forget here, they started the season out 2-5.
Right.
Like, to be where they're sitting today after starting the season out 2-5, that math does not math. That doesn't make any sense, right?
I agree.
13-15 is how many games they've won over their last 15. Last year, I would have told you this. You tell me if you agree or disagree. Were you kind of waiting for it to kind of not fall apart, but all right, they're not I didn't think they were a 15-3 team. Okay. Not most teams are, or 14-3, whatever.
14-3, yeah.
14-3. Not most teams are. And if you said maybe there's a few teams in the AL or the NL that got off to a start like that, you would say, I think that's their real identity. I thought last year it was just you were waiting for things to kind of even things out. Do you feel the same as you did last season, this season?
Can I be honest with you?
Yeah.
Does that have to be?
Yeah. That's okay, brother. The roster is not perfect. They have a flawed roster.
I mean, I kind of feel similarly, but I also think it's almost like in my psyche watching this play out over the last decade. here, like there's a certain way this works. You can only play so well, and you get to a point. It's like I used this analogy 1,000 times on the previous show, and eventually Lucy's pulling the football away. Even if Charlie Brown is fully convinced this time's going to be different, she's still pulling the football away at the last moment. So I come into it with that mindset until proven differently. Until I see this team turn 4 weeks into 10 weeks into 16 weeks. I should be at months, by the way, using this analogy by now. There'll be a point where I'm more of a believer. If I look up August 1st and they got a 6-game lead in the division, but I can't even go there.
I agree with you.
Because I've watched how this played out. So I think that they're a good team. I really do. I don't know if they're this team.
Here's my optimism of where they are. I do think their lineup's a lot better than it was this time last year.
I agree with you.
I do think they got bats, and I think their defense I think that's sustainable. I think Laureano's a baller.
He's great.
I think, having Fermin and Campusano doing what they're doing, I think that's a nice little combo early on. We'll see about Campusano as we go through the season. I think Gavin Sheets has proven like, hey, I'm a guy you can rely on. Xander, I'm not 100% sure, but I'm not here to jinx Xander Bogaerts, but he's been good. I think there's some players that you can look at. If you told me they started out the season 15-7, and let's just say at this point, Manny was just off to an unbelievable start, and Tatis already had 6 or 7 home runs, and it's like, oh my gosh. I would say that maybe they're, these guys are playing out of their, this is too, they got off too good of a start. This is not sustainable, but that's not really the case. The reason why they've won a lot of these games, I think because they have this depth in the lineup that they didn't have before. And that's with a lot of guys struggling. My biggest concern with them, and I think everybody would have the same concern, you don't have enough arms. Your starters right now with Pivetta out, I think there was already questions about your starters. Now there's a bigger question with Pivetta out. That's the part where I ask myself, okay, how sustainable is this? The beauty with that, John, they don't have to have the second or third best record in Major League Baseball. That's not the goal. The goal is to make the postseason.
Sure. And
the goal is to have some home games while you're in the postseason, whether wild card or whatever the case is. And I think that, to me, is most important because their trajectory is, let's get as many wins as we can right now to have a little bit more margin for error.
Yeah, it's so fascinating you say that because, okay, I'll give you this example. We'll get to the phones, by the way, if you want to weigh in on this. Like, is this who the Padres are or not? What you've seen the first 3+ weeks of the year. 877-767-4760. We'll get your calls. 877-767-4760. On one hand, you can go to a game like Friday night, which Alan did, and we'll get into, and you watch Matt Waldron, and you're like, this ain't it. And they're just blanked. And they did nothing. They had 2 hits until 2 outs in the 9th inning, 2 singles, and then they had some random double, whatever. They lost 8-0
with a double.
But you do have to remember as well that even if you have a hole in your rotation, I've made this point a lot with you over the last 3 weeks. I'm like, we have 4 other spots in the rotation. Now, that's also dependent on them being who they're capable of. I thought German Marquez was excellent this weekend. King has not been at his best yet, has been very good for this team. So, we can go down that rabbit hole as well. So you don't have to have 5 reliable starters in April. You do need, hopefully, 4 really good ones in October. That's the goal for me. And to your point, you don't have to have the second best record in the sport. I'd love to see it. But if you can get to October with a rotation that's improved on the one maybe we're watching right now, then you're pretty hopeful, I would say.
Yeah, that's my fear right now is a rotation. That's all. And I get it. You are in April, but this is why, this is why the start of this season is so important. You're 8 games already, 8 games over 500.
I didn't think about it like that until you just said it for some reason.
If, how many wins do you think you need to make the playoffs?
88.
You need 88. Let's use 88.
Could be less.
Okay, so you could have knocked, what are we sitting in here? April 20th. Can they get to 20 wins?
By the time the calendar flips?
By the time you get to, so I think there's, however you get the wins and whenever you get them, but we're going to have to see kind of one, a couple more starts, whether it's Waldron or whether they have, other ideas of what they do with the starting rotation. But that part I think is fair. I mean, like you just said, Michael King, and yesterday you watched them battle. And every time to start the game, he walked the first 2 guys.
Walk, yeah.
And I want to say he ended up with either he had 4 walks. I know the team had 6 as a whole. 4. And they just, the Angels weren't clutch. They didn't make you. Yep. The Angels, if it was a good Major League Baseball team, you probably don't win that game yesterday. So there's enough question marks there. Again, I think this is the beauty. The Padres need to be, if you're 4th or 5th in the NL,
right?
Preferably 4th.
Okay.
And you can have some home field advantage in a wild card series. That to me is my goal with the Padres, because now you're putting yourself in a real spot of let's go make a playoff run. And they're clearly, at an unbelievable pace to do that. And I think the way they've played, I'm more optimistic the way they're sitting this year than I was, I think, a year ago. Because I do think they also got help coming, and help will come, and that help hopefully will be the difference.
This will be for another day, but it's like, are we already, and I've done it, I'm guilty of this. Are we already like, well, if you could be the 4, you could be the top wild card, like, you know what I mean? Like, is there really no hope just because, again, it's the Lucy pulling the football away analogy? Yeah. Yeah, again, we have so much time to discuss it. There'll be all those twists and turns. Like, all of a sudden you win this series in Colorado and you look up and it's April and you're like, oh my gosh, the Padres are in first place. But like, am I going to go down that path for the 100th straight millionth time and then have someone pulled away? Like, is it a conversation worthy of having, or just punt on it from day one? It's very odd.
Here's what I would say. I would say you don't have to punt on it, but I'm not expecting them to win the division. So I kind of already created this expectation in my head. If you told me we're sitting here August 1st and they have a 2-game lead in the division,
like last year,
I'm being completely honest with you. I'm still not expecting to win the division. Now, that doesn't mean you can't win the division. It doesn't mean they're not supposed to. They're not supposed to try to win the division. My point is that there's some things that are not under your control.
Yeah,
they don't have the same control as a 400-something million payroll, where you have, if this guy gets hurt, you got 2 other guys that can step in. If this happens, they could do this at the deadline. They don't have that luxury. So it's not, I don't want to make it sound like I've got no hope at the division, but that's not the goal. Like, even if it is the goal, I think the more aligned goal is getting into the playoffs. I think that's more realistic than saying, go grab the number 1 seed in the NL, or go win the NL West, which is probably, if you win the NL West, you probably have the number 1 seed. I know Milwaukee had it last year.
Let's sneak in a phone call. 877-767-4760. Kevin Acee from Denver will join us on the other side, actually at 3:30. Meanwhile, in Denver, the Dodgers are playing the Rockies tonight before the Padres open their series tomorrow against Colorado. 877-767-4760. Eric, you're back with us here on Schaefer and Sliwa. What's going on?
Awesome, guys. Enjoy listening.
Appreciate you, man.
20-10, I think, is totally feasible. First 30 games in, I like to use 30 games as a sample size to see where the team is at. As far as their pitch, and they can do this with their pitching and their batting lineup. And I'd like to see Kyle Hart get a few starts in, maybe get him like 2 more starts in, just to kind of see where he's at. It'd be nice to have a lefty in there. And then, as far as labeling your show's weeks, I think it's pretty neat. Week 4, week 5, week 6, kind of like the NFL season. You got to give it a shot. Thank you for taking the call.
Appreciate you, Eric. That's great.
I did think, I'm not kidding. Yeah. I did think of the NFL.
When I was doing the weeks.
Yeah, because NFL is like the only one where you're week 16 coming up.
Week 17.
Oh.
Well, week 18. Because there's 18 weeks.
Imagine if the NBA was trying to do a week 33 coming up.
Baseball, right? I mean, it would be the same thing, basically, Major League Baseball. We've got some developing news related to the Dodgers, actually, on the other side. Plus, Kevin Acee will join us coming up at 3:30. Plus, Chris Johnson, Aztec outstanding corner, hoping to go in the first round of Thursday's NFL draft. He'll join us live at 4 p.m. Just getting started. We'd love to hear from you. Phone lines are open. 877-767-4760 here on Schaefer and Sliwa, San Diego Sports 760, live on the iHeartRadio app. Hey guys, it is Schaefer again for our friends at the all-new Hamul Casino Resort, the Players Place, and we've been telling you about the hotel and spa at Hamul. You're going to love it. You can experience elevated luxury with a refined hotel stay, rooftop relaxation, indulgent spa treatment. Sounds great right now. And all the excitement of Hamul Casino Resort seamlessly brought together in one unforgettable destination. You can take your stay to the next level with exclusive hotel packages crafted for the ultimate escape. You'll love their food options, including Tony Gwynn's Endless Dining. You can enjoy San Diego's favorite endless dining experience. That's Wednesday through Sunday at Tony Gwynn Sports Pub. And then make sure to check out Hamul 23 while you're there with their lobster buffet. Every day you can enjoy all-you-can-eat lobster, plus dozens of other delicious stations. Start your morning with their new signature breakfast buffet, Monday through Friday, 8 to 10:30 a.m., featuring made-to-order omelets, fresh fruit, and sweet and savory favorites at the all-new Hamul Casino Resort, the Players Place. All right, Schaefer and Sliwa, San Diego Sports 760 has 9 chances for you to win $1,000 every weekday. It's the Bonus Bucks contest. Listen every hour, 9 a.m. through 5 p.m. Listen for the keyword entered at sportssd.com. Next chance to win $1,000 coming up soon right here on San Diego Sports 760. We have breaking baseball news. Edwin Diaz, who has been certifiably awful for the Dodgers in his closer role, has been placed on the IL. He'll have surgery on loose bodies in his elbow and missed approximately 3 months. Per ESPN, I think Alden Gonzalez might have actually been on it first. But again, this is, we were just talking about the division, obviously. We were just talking about the Rockies. The Dodgers are actually there. They've lost consecutive games. It was Alden Gonzalez that said it. He'll have surgery. He'll remove loose bodies in his right elbow. The expectation is he'll miss in the neighborhood of 3 months. As we've talked about a lot, the difference often with the Dodgers to other teams in baseball is these can be overcome because of what they have available to them. But that is a blow, obviously. Edwin Diaz, their closer, who again has been terrible this year, will miss potentially 3+ months.
Is he, and I have not followed, and more strategically for my own sanity, has he been, he's been that bad because of the injury?
Well, I have no idea why. He's had back-to-back awful outings. Okay. I don't think he got an out his last time. What's today? He pitched yesterday or the day before, didn't get an out. So he's been terrible, and this has happened recently with them.
Yeah, obviously you don't want to see any injuries. This I think, as we put it, I think all injuries, I think right now in sports is different because, of course, this will affect the Dodgers. Like,
sure,
in the sense of you sign this guy because you're trying to get legitimate. And I don't know how Tanner Scott's doing. I don't know how, some of the rest of their bullpen is, but that was a big time name that came across. What's so crazy about what they've been able to do and the amount of spending that they've had. I kind of reached a point. Diaz was like this has kind of been the last couple of players where you just have no emotion anymore, where I'm might as well just keep going. I mean, it doesn't matter at this point how many you're signing, but that's a big one for them. But what you just said about the 3 months, the luxury that they have, again, you don't want to see a player go down, but they can, if he's out for 3 months and they're figuring we can get you back come July or August, that to them is, like we talked about with the Pivetta thing, there's nothing you could do if Musgrove is out in October. There's something you could do with Pivetta out in April.
Yeah.
You got time. Yep. You can figure it out. You have plenty of different options that you could take. And I don't know, I don't think the Dodgers are going to, panic in this situation, but obviously that's a big piece for them.
Yeah. Tanner Scott, by the way, has been very good. He's got a 1.04 ERA.
Wasn't good last year.
He was. And Edwin Diaz in 7 appearances had a 10.5. It was all his last 2 outings where he was terrible. And again, the season is long, and we've said this before with the Padres too and all these teams. You have to overcome this, and some teams are better equipped to do it than others. Obviously, the Dodgers have found themselves to be equipped to deal with this. That goes without saying. Even the Padres, we hope, to a large extent, can overcome the situations that are thrown their way, as you just touched on.
You have to.
With Nick Pivetta. Now,
sure.
And with Joe Musgrove, for example, to this point, there will come a time potentially, you don't want him to just keep adding up. You don't want to lose another starting pitcher, or, I don't even want to go down the places where you could go when it comes to their impactful pieces.
And I think where you were going, which to go to that whole scope, there's not all teams are created equal.
Correct.
Not all injuries are technically created equul. In the sense, do you have other players that you can rely on, or is this like, no,
this is it.
This is it.
Depends on the position, depends on the team, and there's certain irreplaceable players in the sport. There are. I mean, I would say the same thing about LA, even to some extent. You don't want to lose the wrong player at the wrong time, regardless of
1,000%.
what the team is. It's interesting because, we're so early on in the year, and you get so hopeful early when you play the way the Padres played last year to start the year, and this year
they've been great
to start the year.
They've been phenomenal.
And now you've got this Rockies series coming up. Like I'm watching this play out. Dodgers have played the Rockies the last 2 days. They've lost the last 2 days. We'll hear what Dalton Rush and their catcher had to say about the Rockies 2 days ago, coming up later in the show. Calling some of their first pitch swings fishy the other night when the Rockies beat the Dodgers for whatever reason. I guess what I'm trying to say is I want to have the conversation about the Padres being as good as the other teams in the NL West, like the Dodgers, or one of the better teams in the National League. I'm comfortable doing it. I just know that I've been fooled before, is my point. Like I'm happy to do it.
I don't know if you've been fooled, John. I don't know if you've been fooled.
Maybe not. I mean, I've gone down the path before. I'm like, the Padres could win a division. Somewhere along the line.
I'm gonna tell you, there was a point last year.
Yeah, August.
By the way, you're gonna tell me that my computer is not listening to me. I just got an ad.
Okay.
For Dodgers at Padres, May 18th to the 20th. Yes, buy tickets. Exactly. Okay, we got it. I understand it.
Right.
There was a point last year. I'm going to tell you exactly, and I knew exactly where I was when all this went down. You're going to laugh at it, but it ties you into it. So you're doing your show last year in August.
Radio or wrap up?
Radio.
Okay.
And you guys had me come on, and we were going to talk a little Lakers.
We should probably talk Padres.
And then we are going to talk some Padres as well. And it was right after the trade deadline.
Right.
And brother, I felt a lot different after that trade deadline. I'm like, they got it.
Yeah.
Oh, they got a shot at the division.
Yeah. Laureano, Miller.
Players they brought in, what they addressed.
Right.
It's not that you can't have confidence to win the division. It's just, that's not my expectation. And why the reason why it's not my expectation is because it's been years since they've won the division.
No doubt.
And one squad it's been years since they lost the division, right?
Point.
So I think maybe Giants got 1 year. I can't remember.
They won 107 wins.
That's what it was. That's exactly what they
won by one game with 107 wins.
Whatever it was. So that it's not like you're not being negative by saying that. You're going off. This is what the history has been.
Right.
But
you're right.
But I say this, I look at the NL right now, and I look at where, I'm not going to pay attention where the Padres are sitting, but I'm looking at, let's say, the Mets have lost 11 in a row, and everybody's talking ridiculous. About, what a train wreck they are and everything else. The only thing I'm paying attention to is the Cincinnatis of the world, the St. Louis's of the world, the Atlantas of the world, some
They're
of these
just getting a gauge for the
Arizona
Diamondbacks.
Yeah. Because if everyone is playing for second, it doesn't mean you can't beat that top team come postseason, but it's very tough to predict. It's very tough to give yourself the expectations that the NL West is realistic.
Kevin Acee on the other side from Denver, Colorado, our Padres insider with everything on everything. The Padres have won 13 of their last 15. Kevin Acee joins us live next on Schaefer and Sliwa, San Diego Sports 760, live on the iHeartRadio app.
This report is sponsored by Anderson Plumbing, Heating, and Air. The Padres are off today. They start a series in Colorado tomorrow against the Rockies. It's going to be Randy Vasquez going for the Padres, and the Rockies don't know yet. First pitch is set for 5:40 tomorrow night. In NBA news, Spurs center Victor Wembanyama has won his first career Defensive Player of the Year. At 22, Wembanyama became the youngest player in NBA history to win the Defensive Player of the Year award. Coming up here in just a little bit, we have round 1, game 2s in the NBA playoffs. We got Raptors Cavs at 4, Hawks Knicks at 5, and Timberwolves Nuggets at 7:30. Lakers Rockets game 2 is tomorrow night. You can hear that right here on San Diego Sports 760 starting at 7:15. We'll have the tip at 7:30. LA is up 1-0 in that series. Choosing the right home service company isn't just about fixing what's broken. It's about trusting who's in your home. That's why homeowners count on Anderson for friendly professional service that keeps everything running right. Visit AndersonPHA.com.
All right, great to connect with our Padres Insider Kevin Acee. Padres off today. Rockies aren't. They're playing the Dodgers, and then it's Padres Rockies from Denver. So great to have Kevin Acee back with us here on Schaefer and Sliwa. There's a ton to react to. The Padres have won 13 of 15. But Kevin, can we start with how the process will play out? If there's any update on the ownership situation with Jose Feliciano and his wife, the expected next ownership group of the Padres, what happens now? Like, what is the process like for that to come to fruition and for Major League Baseball to approve that?
Well, like they've been vetted. They're at least them. You know, it's a group, and I think that we also need to remember. And I hear all sorts of things. So, but there's a difference between what I can report versus what I hear. But I'm fairly certain too they're not buying the entire thing. So it's important for us to remember that they are buying a portion of the Padres at a $3.9 billion valuation. Some of the owners the current owners are going to stay on, is my understanding. And so, like, I'm assuming all that's gotten figured out, but like MLB has to sift through all of the owners, the paperwork, the vetting process. So there's still a little bit to go. I don't know, but I'm not anticipating an official announcement like this week, I should say.
Right.
Maybe I'm wrong, but like 4 or 5 days. Obviously, this was leaked by somebody who, you know, wanted to get it out there. I don't think that it's like, oh, we're going to have an announcement later this afternoon.
Kevin, just because it has been a few days, have you learned anything different about new ownership? Anything there that's good information that you think is relevant? I know that's obviously it's a huge talking point now. Everybody wants to kind of start jumping to conclusions, and this is who he is. Learned anything different?
Yeah, I haven't, partially because I cover a baseball team, but also because like it's kind of I don't want to say conflicting, but like there's not a lot of information out there. And then it's like you're wondering, so how much is Jose Feliciano involved with Chelsea? Because there's a lot going on with Chelsea. Plus, I don't think most of us in the United States familiar with American sports leagues understand exactly how soccer teams are run and you sell players and like all this different stuff. Like, so I'm actually more confused than I was about Jose Feliciano's sports team involvement. What I have learned is like there's some local ownership, and there were some local entities or people that I think were not like Feliciano specific. Like they wanted to be involved with whoever. So that'll be interesting as we all are able to confirm that. And my understanding that the Feliciano Brown family, his wife, Jones, I'm sorry, Kwanzaa Jones. I heard someone refer to it as Brown. Now it's in my head. Darn it. But Kwanzaa Jones, they're very active in philanthropy. My gosh, it's been a long couple of days. Philanthropy. And that their plan is to continue, you know, what the Padres have built here in San Diego. Now, again, as I've said before, all of this is words, and I've seen a little bit of the jumping to conclusions on a lot of things. And hey, if that floats your boat, go for it. I say that we've got to wait to see how things play out.
Let's get to the baseball team you've been covering. Kevin Acee is our Padres insider. He's with us right now as the Padres get ready for the Rockies. This is like the beginning of the longest stretch of elevation games in baseball history, because the Padres are playing 3 in Denver and then 2 in Mexico City. It's maybe an opportunity for guys like Manny or Toddy to get going. What you wrote today in your newsletter is kind of fascinating. Like Manny's OPS 630, Merrill's OPS 667. Let me just look up Tatis 644. Yet they're 13-2 in the last 15 games. What does it just speak to? How have they done it? You've watched all these games. How are they doing this?
Well, your first reaction is, because I will say this, that like Bogart's had some big hits and he is hitting. Manny has had a couple big hits. Toddy has had big hits. Now they're singles, but he's had big hits. Well, one big double in Fenway. Merrill has had some big hits. So like, I don't think it's a mirage, because that's one of the possibilities, right? Like when you have a team whose stars, the guys paid not to hit 300, but to regularly get big hits and you know, to have their statistics be relatively like they normally are. If that's not happening and a team is winning in a short burst, that can be concerning, or you go, you know what, this is not sustainable. But what I think is happening, I'm wary because I still think it's a small sample size, but because of those contributions by these guys with their terrible numbers that have still contributed, and then the bottom of the order stepping up and different guys stepping up and Ramon Laureano stepping up, and they're melding the pitching with the defense, with the offense, so that on a game where they only score 2, only 1 run is scored against them. What I think is happening based on all that is, well, they might actually be a pretty decent team. They might be a deeper lineup than they have had, and that most teams have. They might be fairly good. Now you're asking me, and I'm focusing offense, because I still think that we've got some big concerns with the starting pitching. If you want to talk about an illusion or you know, a small sample size, and something that we probably shouldn't get too far ahead of ourselves until we see how this starting rotation plays out. But in terms of their being able to win, is it what now, 13 of 15, 10 of 11, have the second best record in baseball? And the offense, I think it's because they're better than they have been in recent years.
Kevin Acee, our Padres insider here on the Schaefer and Sliwa show, 760, San Diego Sports 760. Kevin, you know, we were having a little bit of a conversation about, it's so easy right now to look at the Major League Baseball standings and where are they overall? Where are they in the National League? John and I were talking about how I look at it one way. I don't think I look at, hey, the goal is to win the division. And that primarily just has to do with the Dodgers have dominated the division. When you look at just this team and just the regular season, is there a little bit of a, hey, just get to the playoffs? Can you have home field advantage if you get in the divisional front round? Obviously, they had that opportunity last year and kind of lost it in the final couple of weeks. How do you look at the big picture in the regular season for the Padres? What do you think is the right, maybe, goals you can say to set for this team that are realistic?
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't think you think about the division. Is it impossible? No, it's not impossible. Especially if the Dodgers played more at Coors Field. Maybe that's how they could balance the playing field, is have the Dodgers play at Coors Field. You never know what's going to happen there with anyone. But yeah, sure. Get that home series. Get it for the bottom line, because you're going to make money rather than lose money. You lose money when you go on the road in the first round. It's not a lot, but that's the difference between making money and losing money. And the Padres can use the money. And you're just going to be better off. You're the home field advantage. It's real in the playoffs, generally speaking. And so it's real for the Padres, generally speaking. So get that home field. How do I look at the regular season? Well, this is how I've come to look at the regular season. And maybe, especially this year with new ownership coming in and the optimism that there is there that the purse strings will be a little looser. But the last 2 years, how do I look at the regular season? Well, how are you guys going to do in the first 2.5 months so that AJ Preller can decide how he's going to make the team better in July? That's how I look at the regular season. Like, this team is almost certainly not a complete picture yet. Obviously, because the players that are on it, have to settle into the season. We have to see what they become. But we now know how AJ Preller goes about constructing a team. get some guys, get yourself a pitcher or two or whatever in the spring. Find a surprise position player in the spring, and then add to your team May, June, July, and before the trade deadline. And that is how roster construction for the Padres goes.
Kevin, I feel like every 2 days we'll ask about Mason Miller until there's a reason not to ask about Mason Miller.
What has he done?
I mean, yeah, exactly. What has he done? What he's done is not allow anything. I would almost frame it like what played out Saturday, like it was some like absurd situation where there were two base runners and he didn't allow a run. I would argue it's probably beneficial because you're not going to have every single inning be, 3 up, 3 down with 2+ strikeouts. That's an impossibility. We can all agree on that. Is that a fair thing to say that, being tested, so to speak, in a save situation is going to be beneficial long run for Miller?
I think it is. And then I think that also it points out, like, first off, how dominant he is, that like, it's getting boring to write about how dominant he is. Oh, hey, thanks, Mason, for being less than dominant.
Right.
So that we can talk about that. But then yesterday he was talking about, and I love to always be reminded about this. I think I'm better than most because I'm around it all the time, but especially pitchers look at games so much differently than the rest of us. We are results based. And we might know a lot about results. We might be able to break down the metrics, but we are results based. And Mason Miller talked yesterday about, did he, was he harder on himself? Did he scrutinize that game on Saturday where he walked the batter and allowed a hit? But not really, because he's looking at every outing with a discerning eye and saying, oh, got away with one there. Oh, that pitch was really good. Can't believe that guy didn't swing at it. I'm going to go back to that pitch. Oh, I liked this mix right there. And that's what they're doing. It's the same thing when a guy can come out of a game, a starter can come out of a game and say, man, I felt good. I liked my stuff. And he gave up 4 runs in 4 innings. And you're like, what are you talking about? It's that same mentality. They look at things so differently. But it's like, I'm not sure if I explained it right, but I'm with you, John, where like it is good. It's like good for Mason Miller, and it's good for the rest of us. Just to like kind of lock in.
Kevin, final one for me, and as always, obviously appreciate you joining the show. Matt Waldron gets the start. Obviously, we know the injury with Nick Pivetta. How do you think they manage the starters right now over the course of however long Pivetta's out for? Obviously, a big blow there, but how do you feel how they navigate this and keep their head above water with some of the injuries that they have?
Well, it's going to complicate things. And by the way, John, not the longest stretch of games in altitude in history, because the Rockies played in Mexico City a couple of years ago.
Good point. And but so kind of non-Rocky
sure went
team.
Home. Yes.
Yeah.
No team other than the Padres has ever been as fortunate.
Right. Exactly.
But that's going to make it difficult. Like, okay, Matt Waldron gets rocked again in his next start.
Good point.
Well, what are we reading into that? Or Michael King has a bad outing, or Randy Vasquez has a bad outing. Both of them, by the way, have pitched pretty well at Coors Field, and not every time, but they have before. So that's good. And I'm not sure what they're going to do with the how they're going to line up the rotation. They've got today's off day and they've got Friday's off day, but like everyone's going to have to pitch at either 5,200 or 7,300 feet above sea level here in the next week. So that complicates things. And then from my understanding, and of course I've been asking about it, it's kind of, you've still got a few more starts to still see what's real about Matt Waldron, what's real about Erman Vasquez, or Erman Marquez. By the way, did I say it's been a long few days? So I'm very sorry about that. But they're still in the evaluation process. There's not anyone out there, though I understand Lucas Giolito's God's gift to pitching. There's not anyone out there that is a instant. By the way, Lucas Giolito would need a little work. So he's not going to be pitching for you until late May anyway. But there's no one out there that, pour some water, stir, and you just got yourself a number 2 starter. There isn't, without some great expenditure of prospects or, money or both. So they're in kind of a wait and see and evaluate mode.
Kevin, always appreciate it. We will catch up with you later in the week from Denver and then later in the week from potentially Mexico City. So thanks for doing it, as always.
Right on. Hopefully I get some sleep before the podcast, John. That could be a mess with where I'm at. All right, man. We'll see you.
Take a nap.
Thank you, Kevin.
Thanks, Kevin.
Yeah.
We'll react to that conversation. Plus, Chris Johnson, San Diego State's outstanding cornerback, getting ready to get drafted potentially Thursday in the NFL draft. He'll join us live at 4 p.m. Schaefer and Sliwa, San Diego Sports 760, live on the iHeartRadio app. All right, Chris Johnson is going to join us in 10 minutes. San Diego State outstanding cornerback.
Freaking stud.
Just a stud. Could be the only non-P4 player taken in the first round. No guarantee he goes in the first round. It's a draft.
Yeah.
I think he goes high as like 15, or maybe he falls out, but spectacular season, leading one of the top defenses in America. And now we're going to see him coming up pretty soon on Sundays, which is really cool.
Yeah. And, a little weird. I don't know why you do this, but you said to me during the break, you said, I think I'm a little more athletic than him.
Yeah. Well, I was just saying in general.
Yeah.
I think he's probably better at football.
But overall
athleticism, exactly. And here's the thing, I'm 45 and he's like 21.
Yeah.
So I think it's pretty impressive for me as the 45-year-old to be that athletic.
Yeah, but where you are mentally at this stage in your life, this guy doesn't know it. He can't hang with you on a pickleball court.
Dude, I was out there like a week ago.
Yeah.
Like it's just on campus for like a spring practice. And he's out there working out. And like these, first of all, just in general, the level of athleticism to play college football. But then I'm watching Chris Johnson. I'm like, this is what it takes to get to that level is so incredible. It's so incredible what goes into it.
Think about, we'll take it steps down before we go up. Think about like the best athlete you played against in high school. And you're looking at this person, I'm like, oh my God, this is, how the hell do you guard this guy? Like this.
And then you get to the next level,
Using basketball as an example or baseball, something like that. And
who's the best player from your high school?
The best player from, all right, well, Jimmy Johnson is from Granite Hills High School.
Jimmy Johnson.
NASCAR.
Okay. I didn't know where you're right. Okay.
Yeah. So that I would say is that, but that's like such a different from a sport perspective, right? Like that's
that's way more athletic than anyone that's ever played like in the NBA.
I would not cut that one short, man. I think these NASCAR guys, that's a real thing.
Different. Yeah, exactly.
I'm trying to think here. Who else was there? The Giles brothers, I know, went to Granite. Who am I missing? Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I'm missing. I'm missing Shane Spencer, I want to say. You remember him? He was a Yankee, I want to say Yankee outfielder or something like that.
I do remember that.
I know I'm missing somebody. Who else am I missing? I'm probably missing somebody.
Okay.
Yeah. So listen, there's levels to the game.
There's levels.
Let's just say you and I are not really near those levels.
Like I wasn't as good as Kobe, believe it or not, when we went to high school together.
I got a funny Aztec story for you. I used to go, I think I was just out of college, but they have the gym there. What is it called there? What's the Peterson, but what's the public, not the public, for all the student, the Arc. Yeah, exactly. The Arc.
You're making me look like I went there.
One time I'm pulling up. It's been a while since I've been to the Arc. I'm telling you that right now. One time I'm pulling up and I'm just going to play some pickup basketball. It's just playing full court basketball. LaDainian Tomlinson.
Is that right? That's pretty cool.
LaDainian, are you sure like this is where you want to be playing full court basketball?
If you go in the Jam, which is in public, but San Diego State's more recent on campus indoor facility.
Stupid.
Oh, you could see a lot of, you can see Kawhi Leonard, obviously, will train there, but a lot of guys in the NBA over the course of the summer that are in Southern California or maybe in Orange County or San Diego County, they'll get players in. They've had NBA training camps kind of run through.
We can't comprehend just how good these players are. Honestly, you can't comprehend what type of athletes these guys are.
It's insane. We were going to hit on the Padres here in the rotation. We will. We have plenty of time.
Yeah.
But Chris Johnson will join us coming up. But, for me, though, I will say this, and we'll talk about it with Chris coming up. I'm going to remember him so fondly because in this era where everyone seemingly moves, like to your point, levels.
Story is unique, yeah.
You just made that levels comparison. There's a lot of players that start their career at the group of five. Tons. They end up in the NFL. Tons and tons and tons. But today what happens is they start in the group of five and they end up at the P4 and then they get drafted. Chris Johnson's not that player. He spent 4 years at San Diego State. He could have been paid handsomely to leave. He elected not to. And it's going to pay off in a big way. And I respect that. It's not to say you can't go on. People have opportunities. So be it. It's not for me to criticize. It's just, I really do appreciate even more so now because it's so easy to get up and leave. When someone doesn't do it, I just appreciate that as a fan and someone that just covers it.
Yeah. And the good thing is it did pay off for him. So the beauty in his situation, for those who don't know the story, like you said, 4 years with San Diego State University. Had opportunities, could have left in his final year and made probably a ton of money and decided I'm coming back to San Diego State. I hope there's other athletes that look at, whether they're at San Diego State University or they're not part of the Power Four, can say, hey, look, I could look at this guy. he didn't end up going to Georgia or LSU or maybe, and now he's all the way down on the depth chart, depending on how many corners they have or whatever the case is. And he was rewarded for it. Because what would have sucks is he stays and he's at San Diego State for his 4th year. And then all of a sudden the draft and these NFL scouts don't give him the love because he wasn't playing against the Big Ten schools or the SEC schools. So that is a great story.
We're going to talk to Chris Johnson live on the other side. San Diego State's outstanding cornerback that could go in the first round of the NFL draft that gets underway on Thursday. That's next on Schaefer and Sliwa here on San Diego Sports 760.
This report is sponsored by Summit Racing Equipment. The Padres are off today. They start a series in Colorado tomorrow against the Rockies. It's going to be Randy Vasquez going for San Diego, and the Rockies don't know yet. His first pitch is set for 5:40. In NBA news, Victor Wembanyama has been named Defensive Player of the Year. At 22, he is both now the youngest Defensive Player of the Year winner and the first unanimous Defensive Player of the Award winner in the NBA history. And starting in about couple minutes from now, we got Raptors Cavs game 2 at 5:00. We got Hawks Knicks, and at 7:30 we got Minnesota at Denver. Lakers Rockets game 2 is tomorrow night. You can hear that right here on San Diego Sports 760. Pregame coverage starts at 7:15. We'll have the tip at 7:30. It's Car Care Month, and Summit Racing has what you need for bumper-to-bumper care. Revive the interior, exterior, underhood, and more. Shop summitracing.com. Use promo code RADIO for $10 off an order of $100 or more. Exclusions apply. Offer ends May 3rd, 2026.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? This is hour 2. Schaefer and Sliwa, 73 hours out, Alan, of course, from the NFL draft. We know that because we've been watching ESPN and they've been counting it down. So we're just about 3 days out, and hoping to hear his name called on Thursday is Chris Johnson, San Diego State's outstanding cornerback. Back with us in the home of the Aztecs, San Diego Sports 760. Chris, with John Schaefer and Alan Sliwa, we appreciate you taking time. We know it's a crazy, exciting week for you and your family. So first of all, thank you and hope you're doing well.
Yes, sir, man. I'm doing great, man. I appreciate y'all having me on here, man. How you guys doing?
We are doing well, and we're excited for you. And I want to go back to kind of the start of the last year. Like when you had that decision in this new world where you can go anywhere at any point, and you obviously could have left for quote unquote greener pastures, but it's not always greener. What was it about returning for your senior year that made sense for you? And really, we look at it now, a half year or a year later, and it's like it puts you in a better spot potentially for what's going to play out this week.
Yes, sir, man. I feel like exactly like you said, man. Like sometimes it's greener, and sometimes it's not. But I was certain of what I was going to do as long as I stayed. So I just took that certainty instead of putting some uncertainties in the air. Like you said, sometimes it's greener, sometimes it's not. And, I kind of just took that out of it where, now I'm just stay here where I'm comfortable, get to continue doing what I'm doing here with all the brothers that I've known for years. I've been with Coach Summit since a freshman. So, just being able to stay familiar with all that, that definitely all played a factor in there.
Chris, how uncommon was that decision in today's, college football landscape? Obviously, college basketball as well. How tough of a decision was that? Because, like you mentioned, and I love that you're going to be rewarded for saying, I'm going to stay at San Diego State University, and it's not going to hurt my draft value. It's not going to hurt my opportunities in the NFL. Is that common right now or not common at all? And if you were talking to another athlete out there that's in a similar position as you are or as you were, what would you recommend them?
Yeah, man, I would definitely say it's definitely not common right now, given the circumstances. Like you said, it's a different kind of game right now in college football, basketball. I even see like some softball players and stuff. But I feel like just to give out some advice to guys like facing that, I just say, you got to do what's right for you. I feel like what was right for me might not be right for somebody else. So it wouldn't be right for me to, put my opinion out there towards them. I just feel like, in my situation, it happened to help me compared to, if it was a different guy, it might not.
I think, I apologize, Chris.
Yeah. No, you good.
Yeah, I was going to say, Aztec fans saw it up close and personal this year. I mean, it just turn on an Aztec game and you stuck out immediately. Was there something specifically about this year? Like when you look back in the year, what are you most proud of what you were able to accomplish on field? And then what you did on field, how do you feel like it translated when you got to things like combines and pro days?
Yeah, I'm definitely just happy, man, most of all to win. I feel like coming here to state, that was one of my big things that, we did before I got here. We had like the
11 wins in a row. And I want to say we finished that season in 21 with 12 wins.
Yeah.
So, coming here, all I wanted to do was win. And unfortunately, we had some okay years and we had a few bad years in there too. But I feel like the most thing I'm proud of this year is just being able to win. We didn't get into double-digit wins, but we hit 9. And, I was proud with the team for how they responded throughout, especially like last year. We had we finished with 3 wins 2 years ago. So, just being able to come back and get, right there with the opportunity to win double digits and, even going to a bowl game.
Chris, how do you feel about the future of San Diego State football? Just the hands that it's in and the direction that it's going, and just what's your confidence level that San Diego State University can keep making noise in college football?
Yeah, very, very confident, man. I feel like they're in great hands with especially Coach Lewis, this being his 3rd year. The first year is about, bringing the culture, and the second year is about actually enforcing it. I feel like we got that done. So from here on out, I feel like it should be straightforward with, just being able to have that culture around here and new players understanding what it is when they come in here. I love the fact that Coach Sumler got the promotion at DC. I'm really excited to see what he could do with that. It's a great opportunity for him, especially he being here for a number of years. But I just feel like they're in great hands, and I'm really excited. And I'm also excited for, what I got to do this year and how that could affect us as well. Like, people understanding that, you could get drafted from this school and you don't got to leave in order to get drafted. So I'm definitely happy and excited for, draft day to come up, just for the school to be able to post that and show everybody that, you don't have to transfer out to get drafted. You can get drafted from right here as long as you play good ball. So, yeah.
Great answer.
Really good answer.
It's a great answer.
Chris Johnson, San Diego State, outstanding cornerback, with us right now on Schaefer and Sliwa, San Diego Sports 760, home of the Aztecs. So most people watch college football. They're like, well, the season ends. And then they're like, oh, there's an NFL draft a couple of months later. What have the last 100 plus days been like for you? Training, combine, meeting with teams. I mean, it's got to be a little bit like a fish out of water, because it's something you only really do once in your career. So what has the winter and spring been like for you?
It's definitely been a journey, man. I feel like as soon as the season ended, after we played North Texas, I went to Fort Lauderdale, and I just started training on New Year's. So in 2025 on New Year's, I went out there and essentially just started training from then on. And it's real different compared to football. It's like it's like track. We're just out there running. We're doing some drills, obviously, because I had the Senior Bowl, and at the combine they do drills, but the emphasis was really just running. So that was already different than what I'm used to, than football training. So I get out there, I do that. Obviously, navigating with that, I end up going to the Senior Bowl, which was a blessing. Got to play that, which I was very happy to, because like I said, we were doing track practice. I was happy that I finally get to play some football, because that's what I really love doing. So going to the Senior Bowl, I did what I did there, and then after that, I went back. And we had about a month until the combine. So now we're just really hashing things out, getting, everything is about milliseconds when it comes to the 40. So just trying to get everything perfected, and for my drill work as well. So, transition to the combine. The combine experience was great, man. Just watching it over the years and actually getting to do it was really exciting. And, I got to put a lot of things down that, a lot of people had doubts about my game. So I'm happy I went out there and did that as well. And then since the combine, I've really been back and forth between being in San Diego and back at home in the Corona area, just really just working now and kind of just taking this time to, enjoy some time with my family. I got to go to a few of my sister track meets, just, understanding really once I get drafted, it's a long season ahead of us once I get drafted with rookie mini camp and, all those things through the long season. So I'm really not going to have no free time until about this time next year. So just been trying to, between working out and hanging out with my family and stuff like that, just trying to navigate those things now. But I've been enjoying, every single minute of it.
Chris, first off, you're polished as obviously an upcoming NFL player, but John, a pretty polished broadcaster as well. Chris, the answers here, I mean, expanding as you are, clearly, obviously, you got your I's dotted and your T's crossed. Can you tell us between now and Thursday. Just what's this week going to be like? Obviously, the draft will start on Thursday. First round is on Thursday. Rounds 2 and 3 are on Friday, and then rounds 4 through 7 are on Saturday. What's your setup for the week, and just what do you do moving forward before you actually find out where you're going to be playing football in the National Football League?
Yeah, man, I'm really just keeping it calm this week. Obviously, it's going to be nerve-wracking on a day of, but I'm just trying to keep my mind off at like playing video games and going to work out, really. So, really up until Wednesday, I'm going to be out here in San Diego working out, and then I'm going to head home Wednesday night and get ready for, Thursday. Like you said, that's day one, so that's the day that I'm really excited to, hopefully make some shake in day one and, have my family, my friends around me, the people that's most important be there. And, yeah, from there, obviously, head out to my team and start this new chapter of my football career.
When you have these conversations with the teams, is there something that has come up like with a number of the teams in terms of like what they see from you or what your potential is at the next levels, and how do they see what you did so well at San Diego State? You do so many things so well. I think that's what makes you intriguing. What is it about your skill set that they think makes so much sense for the next level?
Yes, sir, man. I appreciate that. And I feel like one thing a lot of teams just have been like I've been noticing they tell me is that I'm just like polished as a player. And I feel like by that, just saying like whether it's in my techniques, like I'm a sound tackler, I'm sound in zone. I'm a good press player. I'm a good man-to-man player. So they kind of just like that I'm like versatile and I'm not just a man guy or I'm not just a zone guy or I have trouble tackling. Like, no, like I feel like I do a great job in all those, and I feel like a lot of teams feel the same way. So I kind of just been hearing that echoed throughout, these meetings or visits with teams. And, obviously it's a nice thing to hear, but I also like ask them a chance for, to stuff I can work on in my game where I could take the next step. So, they've all been telling me different things, which I'm happy that is different because, I'm a perfectionist at heart. So I want to be the best I could be. So just hearing a bunch of different opinions on how I could be a better player, that's just great news.
Chris, final one for me, and obviously we're going to wish you the best of luck this upcoming week, and it feels like you got everything all covered. I'm curious, does the process in the background, like, do you have any idea? Are there a list of 3, 4, 5 teams that you think, hey, I've been told this, I've been told, like, how blind are you in this kind of process by the time you get to Thursday, or do you feel that it's probably going to come down to these couple of teams?
Yeah, man, I really don't know it all, man. It could go a number of different ways, but I'm just excited and blessed that, I have this opportunity because, it could have went a different way, but I'm just happy that, a lot of different teams like me, and there's a lot of places I could get potentially drafted that I would love to be anywhere, man. And, that obviously makes it a little bit more nerve-wracking because I don't know when I'm gonna go or where I'm gonna go, but I'm just excited and blessed to be able to be in this position, man.
So you'll be with family, obviously, on Thursday, family and friends, Thursday specifically?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
Chris, we're excited for you, man. It's been
awesome.
Our pleasure watching you on the Mesa all these years here, and to see your success and hard work paying off is really awesome. So congratulations. We're looking forward to Thursday and watching your NFL career unfold in front of our eyes here in San Diego, man. Thanks again.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I appreciate it, man.
All right. Good luck, man.
Awesome stuff. Chris Johnson, San Diego State, outstanding cornerback. I have a really good feeling he hears his name on Thursday. You look at some of these mock drafts, not always correct.
Sure.
But there's a number of them, and he's as high as like 15 in some of them. So cross your fingers.
His story is very unique.
It is.
That's a unique story, and very comfortable behind a microphone, polished behind a mic. That's great listening to his story. I hope there's a lot. I love what he said. That probably the main thing is I want people to see how I did it and know that you can have success at San Diego State University. You don't have to go anywhere else. You could stay in Southern California and you could still get drafted potentially in the first round in the NFL. I love that story.
And by the way, real quick, you asked about how uncommon this is. Remember this caveat. He mentioned it in that conversation. When he elected to return, they were coming off a 3-9 year. So it's one thing to be coming off an 11-1 year,
and
like
saying,
in
hey,
North
I want
Texas.
to run it back.
By the way, North Texas this year, the team that beat San Diego State in the bowl game, their top 27 players by snaps all left. So think about that. They went 3-9. Now their head coach left as well.
Yeah.
They went 3-9. Sean Lewis, of course, is back, and he returned as well. Great story. We'll get to the wrap coming up on the other side. If you missed Kevin Acee, you'll hear a conversation in the 5 o'clock hour. Much more in the Padres here on Schaefer and Sliwa. All right, San Diego Sports 760, Schaefer and Sliwa. I'm going to leave this up to Alan. Do you want to do the wrap here over the next 6 or 7 minutes? Do you want to talk about the Padres? This is a choose your own adventure.
Yeah.
Wrap, Padres rotation, something else. To choose your own adventure. Remember those books?
Yes, I do.
They're fun, right?
Yeah. I'm going to go with wrap a little bit further down the road.
Okay, wrap at 4:30 then.
Let's do 4:30.
We'll have a little more time on it.
More time.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I like that. No,
Take
that's
our
why I asked,
time.
because that's why I asked. Because I was going to do rap, but then it's a little bit of a tighter turnaround. Because we were talking
a Monday. What
it's
are we
a
in
Monday.
such a
Okay.
It's 420 on 420.
All right, you're right. That'll do it. That's
By
the
the
show.
way, yeah, to catch that
like
right there is pretty impressive.
How did you do that? I never
I don't
would
know.
have done
I
that.
just looked at the clock and then I remembered today was 420. 420
Wow.
at 420.
On 420. How did you do
Congratulations,
that?
everybody.
We made it. We made it
We
to
did
420 on 420.
Why is there so much smoke in here?
No, there's not, dude. But the one time there was smoke in here is because the phone was on fire.
Could have been
We
the
told
phone.
you about
Could have been the phone again.
when I spilled like
I don't
Diet
think
Pepsi
anybody actually believes that story. Now that I think more about it,
No, it happened. The phone was on fire because I spilled Diet Pepsi or something.
only 10 more seconds and then it's over.
You know how we said earlier, 420 is about to be
Twice a year.
421.
You know, this is it.
This
This
is
is
it.
it. You know, you can celebrate it
AM
as
to
you
PM,
want
and
to.
I wasn't up.
And it's
at
over.
AM.
It's over.
Remember how earlier we're like, when do you stop calling your newborn like a 27-week-old? Well, when do you start doing a countdown? We touched this briefly for the NFL draft.
This is great.
Because ESPN's had it at least in the 80-hour mark.
Yeah.
Just an hour ago, it said 73 hours until round one of the NFL draft. Is that overkill? I mentioned to you off air in a conversation we had this morning about the show. I don't think they count down to the presidential election for 73 hours. They might do it for 48 hours.
Yeah.
So it seems a little extreme. Where do you land on
First
that?
off, let's just say this. Countdowns are like, everyone wants a countdown. Everyone does.
There's a reason they use them.
And
yeah.
it could be on any topic,
Yeah.
anything. I don't care. Everybody wants to own a countdown. What I'd really like to see ESPN do moving forward is let's start the countdown, I think 3 weeks before. And do it in hours or minutes.
400 hours.
Or do it minutes if you want to do it in minutes as well.
Thousands of minutes.
Yeah, just so you can really start. If there's an NBA game on, I think what ESPN should do, 3/4 of the screen should be the NBA game, but you got to leave a quarter screen on the countdown.
Just have the countdown.
Just have the countdown. So if you're missing some of the play on the defensive play because the countdown is there, I get where ESPN's coming from this. It's absurd, brother.
It's absurd.
That's
It's absurd. Here's the thing. I like a good draft. I'm serious. I've always liked drafts. I don't like the MLB draft because I have no clue about the shortstop from Alberta, Texas.
How come you don't?
I know. I don't
Do
follow
your
the sport
job.
closely. But I do like the NFL draft because everyone watches college football. And if you watch college football, like, I know this dude from Alabama or hopefully this year from San Diego State with Chris Johnson. NBA, same thing. It's like, I saw this kid at Kentucky or, a San Diego State.
Yeah.
So I do like the draft, but I don't like it that much.
Oh, it's absurd.
I like it on Thursday.
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
It's absurd, and it might be absurd to us, but I will tell you, if the Chargers were still here,
We'd
I'd
be
have
spending a lot of
a
time on it.
lot more interest in
Yeah,
it.
no
I think
doubt.
part of the problem is you can probably look at a lot of different markets, and they are eating up the draft
Of
like no
course,
tomorrow. And
Kansas
ESPN is
City.
obviously doing this for a reason, but is that an absurd clock? But is ESPN also saying, oh, at least people talking about our absurd
Yes, but like
shot clock that's
you-
in there?
if you're ESPN, you're in partnership with the NBA, for example.
Yeah.
Right. The ESPN ABC deal is part of this current TV package. The NBA playoffs are being played today.
Hockey. They have hockey. I think
True,
is
they
this
have
still
hockey right now,
ESPN?
and this is the postseason.
Yeah.
You're right. This is ESPN.
Mhm.
Another good point. But the NBA is even a higher profile
Yeah, I
league
agree.
in America, right? You have NBA games today that matter. Like the draft is about the next season,
Sure.
and the seasons.
And
the
by the
playoffs
way-
determine the champion.
And it's Monday, and that draft doesn't start until Thursday.
Thursday.
And they're like, yeah, we'd rather just promote the
I just
NFL.
find it so and like, is it
Yeah.
understandable? Yeah, they're invested heavily in the NFL.
Yeah, but you know what would be? I think the invested heavily is one thing. I think it's just they look at the numbers and say, yeah, people are
Dude,
going to watch
everyone
this.
loves it.
I would love to see what the numbers are for the draft
Yeah,
versus the
compared
first
to
round
NBA.
playoffs.
They'll be higher for the draft. Which is insane.
I know.
Because again, the games
I
are what
hate to
determine
admit that.
champions.
I hate to admit that.
The drafts are like some guy goes up to it with a piece of cardboard, is like,
Yeah.
Says a name. It's a really ridiculous concept. Well, sit there. Do you remember back in the day, there were 20 minutes between picks, and then 15
Yes,
minutes
yeah.
between? The first round would take like 7 hours.
That's right.
Now they've made it more of a TV window.
Yep.
8:00 Eastern or whatever it is. Here we are.
Mhm.
Let's package it in 3.5 hours, and I think it's a better product. But still, we're sitting there for 3.5 hours, hearing 32 names. We're not watching LeBron James slam the
No.
ball. We're not watching Patrick Mahomes throw the
We're
best
watching a
touchdown.
dude get excited, smile, hug a family member, walk up there,
Mispronounce a name maybe in there.
and then get to the
get
commissioner,
traded.
smile, go for a quick interview, and then it's like, all right, next guy.
You know,
another
the
10
one
minutes.
thing you can hear already is that or
Oh yeah,
whatever
yeah,
it is.
yeah, yeah.
The pick is in.
Yeah.
But then if you're on social media, credit to you, you're not obsessively on it. If you're on social media, before I even see the 9th pick, it's on my phone.
I went to the Laker game on
Yeah, you were there Saturday.
Saturday.
Look at your weekend. Anaheim Friday
Yep.
to see the Padres, then Saturday Laker game.
Saturday Laker
Yeah.
game. So I'm there on Saturday, and the news comes out. Now, granted, I had a little bit of time on it because I was trying to put up a JJ Redick video. So
Okay.
I go to my phone, I record something from JJ Redick. I sent you a Jake LaRavia. Literally.
Yeah, he sent me a picture of Jake LaRavia.
I literally sent you a video because you didn't know who he was. I'm like, well, let me just send you a video of this guy. Okay, so what do I do? Right when I'm there at the game, I'm trying to upload these. I'm like, oh, I gotta download Twitter and Instagram again because I don't have it on my phone.
So
the timing
of
of
it
it was
now?
awful. They're on there right now. Yeah, they're sitting on there right now.
I saw you tweet.
They're dangerous.
I saw you tweet that Katie was out.
Yep.
You might have been the first person I saw that said that.
Yeah, I got to be honest with you. It was
else.
right in front of me when it happened. And all I was thinking in my head is, I'm like, I think I got Shams on this one. Shams isn't in here. I might have.
Honestly, you probably
by
did.
the time I actually put it out.
How many minutes was after? Was it within a minute?
No, it was within a minute. Yeah, but Shams is.
I know.
You just can't touch Shams. And
Didn't
even
he,
if you put something out, even if I put something out 15 minutes before Shams puts it out and they're like, all right, it's confirmed now.
Correct me if I'm wrong, and I'm looking at Brent now for this. Didn't Shams tweet out that Trump had COVID?
Yes, he did.
It was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
It was just like out of where's this come from?
No, it was one of the bigger flexes I've ever seen on social.
It was like 7 years ago.
What happened?
All right, let's get to the wrap on the other side. If you missed Kevin Acee, you'll hear a conversation coming up at the 5 o'clock
Tweet
hour.
an update of oil prices or something. I mean, this guy's got it.
He's got everything. He's got
the
everything.
price per barrel.
The wrap on the other side on Schaefer and Sliwa.
This report is sponsored by Staples Stores. The Padres are off today. They start a series with the Rockies tomorrow. It's going to be Randy Vasquez going for the Padres and a TBD for the Rockies. First pitch is set for 5:40. In NFL news, the Niners and Trent Williams agreed on a 2-year contract extension worth $50 million. Williams will get 37 fully guaranteed, including a $22 million signing bonus. In NBA news, Wemby captured the Defensive Player of the Year today. He was the first unanimous winner of the award and was also the youngest player to ever win the award. Right now, with about 4 minutes to go in the first quarter, Cleveland is up on Toronto 19-12. In about half an hour, the Hawks and Knicks will start their game 2, and at 7:30, we got Timberwolves Nuggets. Tomorrow night, Lakers Rockets game 2. You can hear right here on San Diego Sports 760. Pre-game coverage will begin at 7:15 with a tip at 7:30. Staples has hundreds of ways to grow your business. Use business this spring, like spectacular signs, brilliant brochures, eye-popping posters, mouth-watering menus, and more. Shop now through June 13th and save up to $150 on all your custom prints. Staples, that was easy.
All right, San Diego Sports 760. Can I ask you a question? We'll hear from Kevin Acee, by the way, at 5:30.
I'm not available right now, but definitely send me an email and then let's talk about it.
Even though we have a show together. Is there anything in sports that you like obsess over? Like, are you like? I'll give you an example because you cover the Lakers.
Yeah.
Right. Like, is it like, would you obsess over anything Lakers related? Like, hey, I need to see this availability report, or I need to know X, Y, or Z about the upcoming game. Is there something that you really focus on intently when it comes? The free agency comes. Are you obsessing over it?
That might be the one that's most interesting. Not as much anymore. Like, here's what we all, I think, understand. Yeah, I don't really have a say in a lot of the stuff that goes on. So what am I gonna like? I can't control what's happening with the Padres. Can't control what's happening with any of the squads that we root for, we cover, whatever the case is.
Right.
So to answer your question, I think there's certain times of the year where there's like a crazy level of interest, but I wouldn't say obsess over. Free agency is very interesting around the NBA. Very, very interesting. I will say with the Padres, there's an unbelievable amount of anxiety that comes with being a Padre fan, but I don't think that qualifies as obsessive, but an incredible amount.
I see what you're saying. The reason I bring it up is like when it comes to the transfer portal with basketball more than football, and we'll get to the wrap. You can't obsess over with football. It's too many names. I don't even know where to start. Like there's 85 scholarships. Like, yeah, there's a name or two that comes up and it's related to San Diego State. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. That's quarterback.
By the way, in the NFL, it's tough too.
It's tough
because of that. That's why it's so much easier in the NBA. You can be like, there's 12 guys on this squad.
Like Kawhi moves hands as a 28-year-old. It's massively impactful, right?
Sure.
I guess the same would be said with Patrick Mahomes. It just doesn't happen. But with San Diego State basketball, I really do consume it because it's so fascinating. There's only, 10, 12. I mean, yeah, there's 12 scholarships roughly. You know what I mean? But one player means everything. So I follow it very, very closely when it comes to San Diego State basketball. And it's like,
give us the latest state
of
San Diego State basketball.
Well, real quick. So they announced today.
Saw that
their core, a good piece of their core is coming back, young core. In LZ Harrington, their starting point guard.
Okay.
Tay Simmons, who was a terrific forward for them off the bench, specifically in conference play. Terrific defensive and offensive player around the rim.
Mm-hmm.
Latrell Davis, redshirted last year from San Jose State. Awesome three-point shooter when we saw him with the Spartans, and a great driver. Thak Majak is a 7-footer that was like a deep reserve last year, but they like.
And are most of these guys, I think they're saying three guys potential starting. Yep.
Harrington, Simmons, Davis start.
Okay.
Then in the portal, they've added a guy by the name of Bear Cherry, which is on the all-name team. 6'11", big dude, played at UNLV a couple years ago. So you have that piece. Nick Anderson was a scorer at Rice that they've added. And now I find out, just scrolling my timeline, Boston University transfer guard Chase Gladden has committed to San Diego State. 6'4" freshman out of Raleigh, North Carolina, averaged 14.5 points per game, 4.5 assists per game last year at BU as a freshman. That's basically your team right now. And they're adding on the periphery. They need a couple of more pieces, obviously.
The problem is, and I think this is going to be the issue everybody has with college athletics right now. What do I do with all that?
It's a lot.
What I mean by that is, how do I know whether that's going to be one of the best teams Dutch has had, or it's going to be a team that's struggling to make the tournament again? I don't know. And I think it's so tough to predict that. And every time you got half of your squad that's gone, you're also not building this sustainability with your squad where I have a good idea of who these players are. I've watched them kind of go. It's just the state of college basketball.
What we've talked about.
It is what it is. Right. And you got to adjust to it. So you got to play the game that's being played.
How about this? Let's have Brian Dutcher on the show, and we'll do it on Thursday. Let's have Brian Dutcher on the show on Thursday at 3:30 p.m.
I mean, the moves that you're able to make is unbelievable.
Like Dutch.
He hasn't even reached out to him. He just,
let me tell you.
He's the one.
I know.
No. My point is that that's what you do. You just say, Dutch, it's time.
It's time. And Dutch will, here's the thing. I didn't want to have, here, I'm taking you behind the curtain, not you necessarily, Alan, but our listeners. I don't want to have Brian Dutcher on the show when the transfer portal's open. And I'll tell you why. He can only say so much.
That's right. Sure.
And he only knows so much because it's a very active, fluid process. Mm-hmm. Portal closes tomorrow night in men's basketball. So Thursday is actually a really good time to connect with him. He won't have his entire roster complete. The portal closing just means players can't leave. He can still add players in the portal, but players can't leave anymore. So come Thursday, we'll have a better feel for the roster. We can talk about scheduling, by the way, as well. So Brian Dutcher will join us Thursday at 3:30.
Great.
Once again, we've kind of missed our window for the wrap here.
45.
Well,
45, no problem.
6 o'clock work today for the wrap?
6:30. I'm available at 6:30.
You had a very strong opinion you wanted to share on the rotation. Not a very strong opinion.
Yeah, I think that, we had the conversation with Kevin Acee, and it's interesting because I'm watching the Padres over the weekend win 2 close games against the Angels. I give them a lot of credit. Like anytime you take 2 or 3, of course, I went to the game. I still got to tell you the story about me getting out there, but I go to the game on Friday and they lose 8-0. And it was just, I mean,
you walked in, it was what, 3-4-0?
I walk in, it was 3-0. Okay. Now remember, I'm driving from the studio up to Anaheim. Had to kind of coordinate some things. And by the time I get in, and this was not one of those nights, by the way, where I went to the Padres game on Thursday.
Yeah.
And I bought my ticket 20 minutes after the game started.
You said great seat.
Great seats. Mm-hmm. Everything was fun. The prices had gone down. This was a giveaway, like a jersey giveaway. They had something Star Wars related.
Gotcha.
Let's just say the prices didn't go down and I didn't get anything because I was way past the first 40,000, whatever they do, right?
Yeah.
Get into the stadium. By the time I sit down, it's 3-0. I go get a beer, it's 4-0. I'm like, all right, can we just kind of keep this reasonable?
Right.
6-0, and then obviously 8-0. It's okay, it happens. But they take 2 or 3 from the Angels. It's impossible that Matt Waldron pitches the game on Friday. It's impossible to think like, hey, how sustainable can these starters hold up?
Right.
Michael King was in a lot of traffic yesterday, walked, I think, 4 guys, but he's Michael King. He could kind of grind out a game and pitch over 100 pitches to only get through, I want to say it was 5 that he pitched. But, you start looking at Randy Vasquez, and now all of a sudden it's like, Vasquez, you got to deliver on the days you pitch. You start looking at Walker Buehler, and it's like, hey, your start is actually going to be more important than we thought it was going to be, or Marquez. And then if Waldron's obviously in the mix, you were mentioning this, look at the games that they have coming up. They're in Colorado, they're in Mexico City, where obviously the ball just travels. And maybe that's an advantage for some of the Padres players. Maybe it's obviously a clear disadvantage for some of their starters and even their bullpen guys. They've got off to such a good start, but your starting rotation is so important. I got some questions there. I'm a little nervous about that.
I'm glad you mentioned. So yeah, you went to see the Padres at Petco. You went to see the Padres at Anaheim. You just mentioned Mexico City. The last time they were there, I took my wife. We just made a trip of it.
Phenomenal.
Because it was a really cool experience. Yeah. But I will say this, and I'd have to look back at those box scores. I've never seen anything like it. A true home run derby played out when we were there, where a ball in the air just left. And I've watched a lot of baseball in person or on TV in my life, and I don't recall it's basically the PCL. The Pacific Coast League is known for balls traveling and elevated ERAs, and you can't really believe what the numbers say. Like They're not good indicators. Like just because you hit 313 with the 1,000 OPS doesn't mean it translates to Petco, right? If you do in El Paso, same thing in Mexico City. I'm actually, you know what? If the pitcher's numbers take a step back for a moment and a starting pitcher doesn't perform well over the next
where
week,
you're going for this.
but if it means Machado gets going or Tatis gets going, I'm lose a battle, win a war there. I mean, I would even, maybe I'm speaking out of turn here, but if like you told me right now, they could go 4-1 over the next 5, but their offense is going to continue to struggle, but they're going to grind out these wins. They'll find a way, even 4-3 at Coors or 5-4 in Mexico City. I think I would take 3-2 with the offense getting going, with these guys actually performing to what you're expecting them to look like. And maybe this is like the match that
confidence they
them.
need.
Yeah, sometimes it's like you play a video game on easy and then you play it on hard. It's a lot easier on easy.
Sure.
Maybe play this thing at elevation and see if you can get this thing going.
Yeah, listen, it's a good observation. It's a good point. I mean, I don't want to sound. How can you be pessimistic about a team that started out 2-5 and are now sitting at 15-7? They're 8 games above 500. They got the second or third best record in all the major leagues. But there is a point where you're just like, their arms, the Pivetta injury just kind of set off this chain reaction. Now they've been able to play without it. Probably the only loss that they have since the Pivetta injury, I think, might be just the Waldron start. That's it.
Yeah, you're right.
I don't think there's another one in there. And they got other guys that step up. But that's just like, now that I watch Padres baseball, there's a little bit of, can they sustain this? Because of how many different guys that they've had that, have obviously delivered so far to start the season, but just the starting pitching, that's the only question. I love that what the bats have done. They're all of a sudden so much deeper. And the fact that Tatis and Machado have not been, Tatis he's not playing awful by any stretch. The problem with Tatis is just nothing's leaving the park. Literally not one, literally not one home run this season. And Machado's had maybe some quiet moments here and there, but nothing great. The bigger question for them is just, can they get a little bit of momentum?
Completely agree. We'll get to the wrap at 5 p.m. We'll hear from Kevin Acee at 5:30. And on the other side, what Dalton Rushing, the Dodgers catcher, had to say about the Rockies winning each of the last 2 games against the Dodgers at Coors Field. We'll discuss it coming up next on Schaefer and Sliwa here on San Diego Sports 760. All right, we'll get to the wrap coming up in 10 minutes. We do want to congratulate our winners. iHeartRadio's Thank a Teacher, powered by Donors Choose. There's still time to donate to a classroom project, and your donation will be matched by Donors Choose. Help us say thank you to the educators shaping our future now at iHeartRadio.com/teachers. I want to mention what Dalton Rushing had to say about the Rockies in a moment, but I thought you would appreciate this, Alan, because you're the guy that's covered the NBA for a good bulk of your career, right?
Yep.
Covered the Lakers right now. I mean, you're at a Lakers game literally on Saturday in the postseason. I think I have the rare distinction of having at least watched 1 minute of all 8 of the NBA playoff games this weekend. We were watching Amazon. We were watching NBC. We were doing, I mean, my wife's just so into it. We've just kind of been leaving them on.
I love this.
Now, there were some not great games.
Do they just
stay
stay in the background?
Yeah, it's more background.
Yeah.
I mean, like she really likes the Thunder. I mean, it's like, they're the best team, so she's like into it. But that game, they're up like 30 like right away or up 20 right away.
How much are you going to watch if you're Spurs, Blazers?
I'll say this, man. You watched Spurs at all last night?
I did. Yeah.
That's all I got to say.
I know.
We're looking at each other. No, don't even say anything.
Yeah.
That's all I got to say.
Mm-hmm.
When you got guys like Tim Duncan and David Robinson doing what we just did, like, I don't know what to say. These guys are like the greatest 50 players in the history of the sport.
It's his first playoff game.
5 for 6 from 3, step backs.
It's his first playoff game
ever.
Yeah, there is, but I know what you're saying. And the first round's overwhelming.
It's a lot going on.
Because they start at like 10 a.m.
It keeps going.
And it just goes like 9:30 at night. We're walking into the fourth quarter of a game. You're like, they're still going.
I'm like, this is on Fubo, or like, where do I find this thing? You know what I mean?
The games are going. I mean, they started games, I think today at 4, and I think they're playing 3 games today.
We're about to have something at 5, friends. What are we having on TV at 5?
Knicks Hawks.
We'll have Knicks Hawks in studio.
Sox. Okay, Knicks Hawks.
Yeah.
But it's nice kind of background stuff to have on. But the thing that you complain about in the NBA is a perfect example of the first round. Unless the Orlando Magic upset the Pistons or something like that.
That was a decent game, honestly.
But what you always say, it's like, yeah, there's a lot of teams that get to the playoffs. The NBA stretches this bad boy out as long as they can.
This takes a while.
They'll get as many teams in. And you got to kind of get out of the first round before you start saying, I like that matchup.
I agree with
this one's an interesting one here. You might get some good 4-5s, but for the most part, the series are already all decided.
Dalton Rushing.
Yeah.
Dodger catcher. I find this interesting because a lot of people believe, and I think a lot of our listeners as well, believe that the Dodgers have a lot of the advantages built in, correct? Like there's a general belief that the Dodgers are playing with a different deck than everyone else, right? For all the things that we've talked about.
They might have a couple advantages here or there.
So they have advantages, but he didn't like the fact, Dalton Rushing did, this is his post-game commentary, that seemingly the Rockies had an edge up on the way he was calling the game as a catcher with so many first pitch swings. Listen to this.
I think it could have been a little bit of both sides. I think they had a good game plan as an opposing team. And maybe I pitched into their game plan as far as calling pitches. I'm not 100% sure. I think it's odd. Some of those hitters that do what they do, they go up there and they were only the first pitch that was thrown. So it's fishy.
It's fishy.
Fishy.
And it was odd that they were swinging at first pitch.
So I'm just assuming accusation is they're reading the pitcher. There's some kind of signal that
they had something.
Is that, and I'm being honest when I ask this question, is that something that the Dodgers are going to be suspicious about the Rockies, or is that on the Dodgers to make sure that you're not tipping pitches? Because weren't we earlier in the year talking about Marquez was in a situation where there's a story out there.
He
it's
was
like
tipping.
Seems like they know what's coming.
I think it's on Dalton Rushing to be less neurotic.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying? Like sometimes, guess what? It's professional sports. We're talking high level work. The Rockies can change game plans within the course of a series for specific pitchers, or in certain instances, teams are going to do that, right? What played out in game 1 of a series doesn't necessarily play out the same way in game 2, and so on and so forth. The fact that the Rockies, for example, I don't even know how many runs they scored Saturday. I think they scored 9 runs Sunday. I'm not sure. Correct me if I'm wrong. Rockies they won 2 games. They've won 2 of the 3. They're playing again tonight. Rockies score runs at Coors Field. It's not shocking.
But what I guess the part I'm confused about when he says fishy, is he kind of, hey, they're cheating?
He's alluding to the fact that the Dodgers game plan of, I don't know, pumping in first pitch strikes, for example, I don't know what it was, or were most of the first pitches thrown in sequences fastballs? Were they breaking balls? Were they over the plate? He's basically alluding to the fact that they had that prior knowledge in some form or fashion. Hey, here's the game plan. Let's get ahead. Very simple. By the way, a tale as old as time.
Yeah, can I just, I mean, isn't that if Michael King's taken the mound yesterday, and by the way, I think it took him, probably 5-6 batters to get first pitch to be a strike.
Yes,
he struggled from that perspective. Is that kind of most pitchers first? I'm a little confused of and maybe he used the wrong word of fishy, or maybe he knew exactly what word he was using. But in today's game, I think the only time that you're really cheating is if you're doing something, and we all know the Houston Astros and everything else, is if there's electronics involved, there's things. But can you be cheating based off of?
I mean, you could be doing it based on.
I wish we had more info.
Yeah,
I had more info.
Here's the thing: it's a ridiculous accusation from the LA Dodgers catcher in April. Is my basic point. If there were actually something occurring, I would keep it quiet, and I would attempt to get to the bottom of it or use it to the advantage of my team. If you actually had something that you think could be beneficial, they're doing something I'm now aware of, go to Dave Roberts, not Twitter. I mean, he didn't go to Twitter, but I
went to the
See
reporters.
it. Yeah, I ultimately see it there. And secondly, in the PitchCom era, where it's all communicated completely differently, no longer do I put down two.
Sure.
It's a different world, man. It's way harder. I don't even know the mechanisms in place to be stealing.
This is why, you and I are going to spend a good weekend together and watch Godfather 1, Godfather 2, and Godfather 3. Here's why. Because
not during the NBA playoffs.
I think it's the mantra of keep your friends close, but your enemies closer.
What are you saying?
I think what you're trying to say is Dalton Rushing basically going out and admitting what happened. He was better off not saying anything.
Yeah. Why would you say that?
And then go back to his squad and say, I think this squad is cheating without anybody knowing.
The series is still going on. Yeah. And they're going to play another 10 times this year. And honestly, it's crying over spilled milk.
But you know what it is? And you tell me if, let's just say, and be honest here. Let's say Luis Camposano.
Yeah.
Playing the Rockies in a 3-game set. If he said something, would it be different?
If he said the Rockies are stealing signs?
If he said something that there's something fishy going on, do you think this has more to do with because it's the Dodgers?
Oh, I thought you were asking me if he says it on the heels of Rushing.
No.
Give it credence.
No. Yeah, of course I would. But I'm saying,
if he said it randomly, I'd probably call him out.
Oh, you would? Okay.
I don't.
No, but that's good then, because I think what happens in situations like this, I think that franchise is also under a microscope.
Of course.
Because we're all looking at baseball and saying, so you could just do A, B, C, D, and E, and then the competition is so much different and everybody's okay with it. I thought maybe this has more to do with it's because the Dodgers did it. It came from their catcher.
It's just a little more annoying that he would voice it in this holier art thou way. Oh, that's a little fishy. They beat up. Basically, the way I hear it is they scored runs. Interesting. They're playing at Coors Field. I mean, this is what they've done for 25 years, basically. The Wrap coming up next. Kevin Acee at 5:30 here on Schaefer and Sliwa, San Diego Sports 760, live on the iHeartRadio app.
This report is sponsored by Wendy's. The Padres are off today. They start a series with the Rockies tomorrow night in Colorado. It's going to be Randy Vasquez going for the Padres and TBD for the Rockies. First pitch is set for 5:40. In NFL news, the Niners and offensive lineman Trent Williams agreed to a 2-year, $50 million extension. Williams will get $37 million guaranteed, and that includes a $22 million signing bonus. In NBA news, Victor Wembanyama was named the Defensive Player of the Year today. In a couple of firsts, he was the youngest player to ever win the award, and he was also the first unanimous winner of the award in league history. Right now, with about just under 2 minutes to go in the first half, it is Cleveland 52, Toronto 42. Coming up in about 15 minutes, we got Hawks-Knicks game 2. And at 7:30, we got Minnesota at Denver. Lakers-Rockets game 2. You can hear that tomorrow night right here on San Diego Sports 760. Pregame coverage will begin at 7:15 with the tip at 7:30. Choose one of Wendy's new Biggie deals at $4, $6, and $8. Pick one of the new Biggie deals you're craving. For a pretty Biggie deal, it's got to be Wendy's. U.S. price and participation may vary.
All right, final hour here on Schaefer and Sliwa, San Diego Sports 760. Tomorrow, by the way, Rockies reporter Kyle Newman will be on the show, getting you ready.
There you go.
For Padres and Rockies. He'll join us at 4:30 tomorrow. Brian Dutcher will join us on Thursday at 3:30. Much more on San Diego State men's basketball. And Kevin Acee today. If you missed it earlier, you'll hear a conversation coming up at 5:30. We're kind of flying by here. We haven't gotten to the wrap. We normally get to it in the 4 o'clock hour.
Yeah, we kicked it. We had other things going on, and all of a sudden there's like 4 minutes left in a segment. Do we cram it in?
Right.
No, well, let's just do it right.
Let's do it right here.
It's time for the wrap. Presented by Sombrero Mexican Food. Check out their website at sombreromex.com.
Who's going to win the Lakers-Rockets series?
Good question.
See how quiet I got there?
Yeah, I did.
This honestly is all going to come down to injuries. Like, I hate to say it, but Kevin Durant, nobody really thought KD wasn't going to play in game 1. Lakers took game 1. If KD comes back tomorrow, I'm expecting the Houston Rockets to tie the series. If he doesn't, I think there's a real legitimate chance that the Lakers win this series. I got no confidence in the Houston Rockets. I don't know how much you've watched the Rockets play. I've seen them plenty this year. They just don't have any rhythm to their game. So it's going to be injury-based. If KD plays tomorrow, I think we still obviously this probably leans towards the Rockets. If he doesn't play tomorrow, I think Lakers go up 2-0, and I think they win the series.
I wonder if the series goes 7 games. Like, I think this will be a long series.
Every game it goes. Today there was some footage of Luka at practice.
Yeah.
Not practicing, but at practice. Shooting around, whatever the case is.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I mean, by winning game 1, obviously your chances, whatever the math supports on winning game 1, it's a good sign historically in winning a series. But you're right. If KD doesn't play, I feel like the Lakers are going to win. If KD doesn't play game 2, I feel like the Lakers will win this series.
I know. I kind of lean with you on that.
Which means KD's kind of has to play game 2.
What if he can't? You know, KD played, I read something this morning, played 78 games this regular season.
That's crazy. So he does not miss out. He's flat out hurt.
So that's the thing that I think is drawing everybody off. If he's not playing, he must have a real injury.
What do you got, Brett?
I was going to say, as of right now, he's a game time decision for tomorrow.
The game's tomorrow?
Tomorrow night.
Okay. I thought they had like 10 days off.
Tomorrow, if the NBA had it their way, they wouldn't start until May 15th.
Yeah, exactly. Next question.
Well, Fernando Tatis Jr. homer during these next 2 series while playing at elevation. Little help.
I need both of your guys' help here. Did we do the Angel series?
We did.
I said he was going to hit.
You did.
And I watched them get 3 hits total. Actually, I only saw 1 hit. No, I saw Machado get a base hit too.
They had a double in the 9th, right?
They had a double in the 9th.
On Friday.
I'm going to say, I mean, he can't not hit a home run over these. How much of it is in his head right now? because I also think he's still playing the right way.
He is.
I don't feel like he's trying to, mash home runs. And typically, I'm sure if you're not trying to, is probably when you get into one. If he doesn't get one with 3 against the Rockies,
2 against the Diamondbacks
in Mexico City.
Yeah, huge caveat.
I say yes. I think he gets it.
I completely agree. So what is that? Even if that's 4 plate appearances per game, I mean, you got some chances here. This isn't one game we're saying go hit a home run. I wanted to look this up because
about 20 opportunities if he's playing in all these.
20, right?
20 chances.
Yeah, 20 chances. If memory serves, his career numbers at Coors Field are incredible. Now, I would have to look that up to confirm if my memory is correct. He's hit .319 in his career with a 1,034 OPS in 33 games at Coors Field with 8 home runs. He's hit a home run every 4th game at Coors Field in his career. He's got a homer over these 5 games.
Was last year the game where they had like 20 runs in Coors Field?
They've done that. They did have a game. I think they won like 20-0. Did they
Something
not?
like that.
Something like that. But now I want to find out what he did in Mexico City.
But they sucked after that game. Then they went on a tear the wrong way.
He also homered, by the way, in Mexico City.
Yeah.
In that series.
All right, he's getting his home run.
He's homering.
Right? Don't worry.
Next question.
Will Steve Kerr be back coaching next season?
There are a couple weird clips over these last couple of days, and then they had Steve Kerr mic'd up. I don't know if it was Kerr mic'd up, Draymond, or Steve Kerr, but they had like a huddle when they knew they were going to lose to the Clippers and they're out. And it's kind of like the writing is on the wall, it feels like. And then you heard Draymond Green in his podcast, whether he did that yesterday, today, whenever he did it, but I saw the story there where he doesn't think Kerr is coming back. So I'm going to go with what the signals are telling me. I think Steve Kerr has probably coached his last game as part of the Golden State Warriors.
I agree. And not only does it make sense, it makes a lot of on-court sense. They're not winning anything. Like, sorry, you're not. Like, the window fully closed. They've been intriguing. I mean, it's one of the great runs in the history of the sport, obviously, under Steve Kerr. But it's over. It's done.
Well, and the problem is all the players they have, Jimmy Butler, Porzingis, like a lot of these guys are injury-prone to begin with.
Steph Curry is injury-prone, is he not? So I do think, in fact, that era has come to an end. Next question.
Will San Diego State's Chris Johnson be drafted in the first round on Thursday?
Well, I think you were telling me there's a lot of these mock drafts that have him top 20.
So ESPN earlier 20th. I'm at USA Today, 20th to Dallas. So, I mean, 20th is not exactly 32nd, is my point. 32nd, very arguable.
Sure.
And sure, there's guys in the 20s that won't get drafted in the 20s. Absolutely. But there's a lot of indicators suggesting he's one of the top couple of cornerbacks. And with 30-something picks, the top couple of cornerbacks, I think there's a better than 50-50 shot he gets drafted in the first round.
NFL is the weird one because in NFL, you can have somebody that's projected top 15 and then he's not selected until the 3rd round or something, right? Like that happens. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. Let's say he goes in the first round and that interview, the conversation, the first time I've ever had a conversation with him, that's an ezy guy to root for. Definitely rooting for him.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. The last Aztec, by the way, taken in the first round, we'll recall, is Rashad Penny, who ran for 2,000 yards in 2017. He finished top 5 in Heisman. Didn't get to New York, but I think finished 5th in Heisman voting or 4th. Pumphrey one year was 4th or 5th as well in Heisman voting. That's your last first-round pick. Penny had an amazing, year or two. There was one year in the NFL, Penny was unbelievable. In fact, I think he remains, I might have Brent look this up, I think yards per carry in the history of the league, Rashad Penny is number 1. Now, he only had X number of career carries because he was hurt.
Sure.
No joke. He's top, if it's not number 1, it's top 5 all time. Rashad Penny. Chris Johnson, here's my belief on Chris Johnson. The Aztecs have had other players in the secondary have good careers. DeMonte Casey has been in the NFL a long time. I think he'll have a long career. I think there's just something about him. He does a lot of things well. He's good in the run game. He's a good tackler. He's a good cover corner. I just think he's going to have, I don't know if he's going to be all pro, this, that. I just think he's going to have a long 8-10 year career in the NFL.
I just want for him to end up in the right team.
That's a great point.
Right system. Because how many different times, I'll use as an example. I mean, let's use the Rams as an example.
Yeah.
It's a good organization.
Absolutely.
Right? They know what they're doing clearly. And they've been able to get young players to instantly have an impact again, that's just one example. We pick
And there's others,
5-10 different teams, but there's also, I saw one. There was an article in the some Raiders, newsletter out there, whatever it was, and it was talking about potentially grabbing Chris Johnson. And immediately in my head, I'm like, yeah, I hope he doesn't go there. There's certain franchises that you just know they dot their I's and they cross their T's. I'm sure there's plenty of Raider fans here in Southern California. Who's going to argue that the Raiders are not one of those franchises, right?
Sure.
But also where he goes, it can dictate so much of your success.
Oh, it's such a good point. I mean,
thank you, man. I appreciate it.
No, I love that because, we even touched on this earlier. It's like, specifically here in San Diego, it's like you're rooting for Chris Johnson, but then one of the teams is the LA Chargers. You're like, well, what if he goes there? There's just so many factors. Imagine being in that spot, by the way.
And I'd ban him. No, I like the guy. I really do.
But imagine like you're so good at your craft that you're going to be rewarded and you might be a first round pick and you might be a millionaire 10 times over come Thursday, right? Great. Amazing opportunity. 99.999% of all people would trade spots with that individual, right?
Sure.
But what makes it unique, a lot of other people, let's say you're really good at computing. You can pick your employer. You're really good you invented something. You're an entrepreneur. It's kind of in your hands. You could end up anywhere from Miami to LA, Buffalo to Phoenix. Anywhere is possible in the continental 48 states. And that's all determined on a whim, a trade, a pick, a decision. It's very interesting to me. I like it. It's cool. But it's kind of bizarre. He could be in Green Bay, Wisconsin. He could be up the road in Los Angeles. Who knows?
I think he'll listen, we'll see what happens. But damn, for him, his story and how I loved one of the things he said in our conversation about how he really liked the idea of staying at San Diego State, believing in it. It felt right. He even said, when I said, would you recommend other players do the same thing? He's like, no, I would let, however they feel, let them make their own decision. But the way he stayed at San Diego State and kind of bet on himself, and then here he is going to get an opportunity, whether it's by the way, if it's the second round, it's the second round. What an unbelievable,
exactly.
Good for him. But first or second round, I think the beauty for that is I felt like he did it the right way. Hopefully he's rewarded with getting on the right team, and then his career can flourish from there.
Looking forward to it, and we'll see if we do hear his name called on Thursday. For me personally, and I think for a lot of Aztec fans or San Diegans, now it's like I got to have that thing on. Because once again, am I expecting him to go in the first 8 or 10 picks? I mean, obviously that's ridiculous for any player to go in the first 8 or 10 picks. But then all of a sudden you get in the teens, and I'm into it. Like now we're in the teens, and you never know.
Well, here's the key here, and I don't know if you know this, Brent, but if you don't know when the draft is and how much time is left before it starts, Thursday. ESPN does have a clock, a ticker there that's there.
I think it's like 70 hours and 47 minutes. That's just me guessing. It's like 70 hours and 47 minutes away. Something like that.
Plus the 15 minutes because the Raiders still won't make their pick.
Well,
when the
you
draft
know that.
starts,
There'll be the whole song and dance for the first 15 minutes with Goodell. All right, NBA postseason
Let's do it.
Underway. Let's discuss more what played out this weekend, what's ahead, including for the Lakers and the Rockets. Plus, if you missed Kevin Acee or Padres Insider, you'll hear that conversation coming up at 5:30 on Schaefer and Sliwa.
Shots fired at the Knicks.
Yeah, we were ripping the Knicks at the break. I doubt the Knicks are listening because they're playing. Like, imagine they're just all sitting around the iHeart app on the bench.
What's Schaefer
Hey, what did they say? What they say in San Diego? Yeah. I was just telling Alan, NBA playoffs are underway. We can go anywhere with it. I said, Alan, have you been to the Garden? And he's like, yeah, a couple of times. And I just said, I'm like, there is something about being in the building for a game. There's like just I don't even know how to describe it. The ambiance?
Aura.
Yeah. I was going to actually use that word, but the ambiance. But you're like, yeah, but they haven't won. They haven't won a title in 50 years.
I look at the Knicks and it's like, I mean, God bless their fans. Okay.
They have passionate
fans. They're into it, but they won like a first round a couple of years ago and their fans were going nuts.
Crazy.
And in my head, I'm like, this doesn't look good. This isn't a good look. Like, it's not a good look for you guys.
It's the celebrating the play and win, jumping on each other.
It's just like you're the Knicks brand, but the truth is that brand is not very powerful. It's powerful from it's the New York market. It's a very popular franchise, but the way you're powerful is by winning. They haven't won since Phil Jackson was a player.
Yeah, I thought the Ewing Starks era was interesting growing up in
Sure.
that. Like
It's interesting.
They were a
and
player.
they were competitive, sure.
But that's where, for me, it just ended.
But what is Patrick Ewing known for?
Defense.
Sweating.
Not winning a championship.
Yeah. Right,
like
exactly.
Barkley and like some of these others.
Yeah, exactly.
And also sweating and defense.
And all those things.
Yes.
So, okay, so where do you want to take the opening weekend of the NBA playoffs? A lot of home teams win. You have Orlando go to Detroit. I didn't realize the Detroit stat. They've lost like 11 straight home playoff games.
Oh, is that right? Okay.
It might be 12.
Mm-hmm.
Something ridiculous. Like, I'm done with Detroit. I don't care what happens. I don't care if they beat Orlando in 5. They're not a legitimate player, correct? There's no way they're making the NBA Finals, the Detroit Pistons.
But they can make the Eastern Conference Finals.
Okay.
They can. They can make the Eastern Conference
and
Finals.
then play Boston.
And then play Boston and then lose.
Okay.
The Celtics, I think, are the best team in the East. One of my takeaways from the weekend, I think, what you and I talked about, seeing Wemby for the first time.
Unbelievable.
Fun, exciting. I mean, if you're just a basketball fan and an NBA fan, the thing with Wemby is there's nothing to comp him with. I got nothing. There's certain players in sports. It's good. Excellent point.
Is that a good comp?
Excellent point.
They're similar in. Okay.
Can you imagine that
imagine them against
screen
each
and
other.
roll. It's like
I want to see Muggsy guarding Wemby.
Switch on that,
Don't
guys.
switch with Wemby.
By the way, that he makes it look like you could be 6'3" and you look
tiny.
like nothing in front. He's made Shaq look like he's nothing. But I think opening weekend for me, getting a chance to see Wemby. This is his first time playing in a playoff game, so there's there's obviously some allure there. The Lakers and the Rockets. Here's the problem with that series. And I'm at that game, and it's not that there wasn't energy. It's not that wasn't exciting, because I think there were some exciting moments. Brother, there's KD is out, Luka's out, Austin Reeves is out.
What's the building like? So it's game 1.
Yeah.
The Lakers are at home. It's the postseason.
They're such underdogs coming in, and an hour and a half before tip off, it's like KD's not playing. Now it's all of a sudden like, wait, Lakers got a shot at maybe winning game 1. The building was it was a playoff game.
Yeah.
Like it really was. Like I don't want to underplay it, but I think
it wasn't the finals game.
No. But here's what it was. You got a bunch of role players that play hard for the Lakers.
Sure.
I'm going to if I want to try to give a comp here, and I don't know if I can, but let's say Craig Stammen becomes the manager of the Padres. There's a little bit of, well, why would you bring this guy in? And you know what? Aren't you in a window of trying to win right now? You got these guys, you're paying this much money for these, but don't you want a vet manager in there that can maybe take you to the postseason and everything else? So you're already like 2 steps behind the moment Stammen comes in. JJ Redick comes in as the head coach of the Lakers. He's here because he does a podcast with LeBron. What has he ever done? He kind of skipped the line to become the head coach of the Los Angeles Lakers. So I think for me, part of the takeaways from that first game is I thought JJ Redick was out coaching Ime Udoka. I thought LeBron is still putting up. LeBron had 10 assists in the first half. He was phenomenal once again. But there was all these other players that stepped up for the Lakers, and the takeaway was there's a lot of injuries, and the Lakers outlasted the Rockets based off injuries.
I want to talk more about Wemby. I don't even know if you saw this or if we've discussed this.
Mm-hmm.
The NBA put in the Defensive Player of the Year in 1982. He's the first unanimous Defensive Player of the Year in the history of the NBA. I mean, think about that. I mean, think about that.
And the youngest to win it.
And he's the first
and one of
unanimous.
3 MVP candidates as well.
Correct. Correct. So I don't know. And just watching that, here are my takeaways from the Spurs game at home. I
love this.
They color coded every section. Pink and blue and yellow and purple and fuchsia. And it was, I don't know how they did it. Like you would have had to send me lots of emails.
That's a lot.
It was a lot. I'm assuming they put shirts in all the sections. Whoever the shirt vendor is they're millionaires off last night. That was my one takeaway. And the other thing is watching Wemby. It's a little Mason Miller-esque. I have rarely seen in baseball where professional hitters don't look like they have a shot. You're like, wait, like they look almost scared at times. Maybe that's not fair, but they do.
If not scared, they just look like
Overmatched.
Their confidence level is so low.
Overmatched. He's allowed 2 singles, right, this year. And Wemby is like, I see the other 9 dudes and they all recognize they're not Victor Wembanyama. You know what I mean? And they're trying to get by in their way. But man, Wemby, it's like he's the center of the universe when he's on the floor. And maybe it's because he's 7'5", but I can't take my eyes off him.
Well, a lot of times you might have a defensive player of the year winner. That's right. You said the first to win the award unanimously. Then that's kind of what they're known for. Rudy Gobert has won Defensive Player of the Year. Draymond Green has won Defensive Player of the Year. What are these guys known for? They're known predominantly. That's what makes Kawhi so special. It's because I can do both sides of the floor. And then you got this 7'4". Well, you want me on the perimeter? You want me to bring the ball up the floor? You want me to step back and shoot a 25-footer? I can do that for you. He might be the most, in his first playoff run that he's ever making, and obviously in his short career in the NBA, if I said, what's the most interesting storyline coming into the playoffs? I guess my question is, what's second? Because Wemby has to be by far the most polarizing, interesting, curious. The team was good. If there's a squad maybe to dethrone the champs, is it going to be, you'd have Jokic in the second round versus Wemby? Like, I think he's the storyline of the playoffs.
Here's my second, and you're right. It's not Jokic. Forget about that for a second. To me, there's still an interesting, is Shea really a great one among the pantheon of either teams? You can go beyond Shea with Oklahoma State. Is this a legitimate, formidable, all-time team to be dealt with or not? And is Shea going to elevate, right, from tier 2 great? Because I do think there's a lot of people who say he would be tier 2 great even all time, arguably, wherever that goes. But if he wins another, I think there's a lot of people who tell you he's tier 1 great. Maybe he's not Steph Curry, maybe he's not LeBron.
But
I think you're taking that next step.
Here's why that conversation's not fair to Shea.
Okay,
because I think they're going to be in the running for the next 4 or 5 years.
True,
and I think if you want to be where the greats are, you need
more time,
a 7-8 year playoff run, and then let the dust settles. And it's where did you show up in that stage? If I give a comp, and I don't know if it's the best one or not, if his career ended like Dwayne Wade, it's a pretty amazing career, even though you don't have to be Kobe. You see what I'm saying?
But there's also a big, correct me if I'm wrong, we'll get to AC in a second. Dwayne Wade, wouldn't you agree, is on that? He's a great all-time player, but not the tier 1 all-time player.
Yeah, tier 1 is how many in the history? Is there 10?
It's hard. It's hard. Even if we said modern game 8 or 10.
I think Shea's got years to go, but I say that because I think he's only going to help his own resume.
Yeah, I agree with that. Let's hear from Kevin Acee. Not on Shea, but we'll connect with Kevin from Denver on the other side. Our Padres Insider. If you missed it earlier, Padres and Rockies coming up tomorrow to begin a series. Schaefer and Sliwa, San Diego Sports 760, live on the iHeartRadio app.
This report is sponsored by the Hartford Auto Insurance. The Padres are off today. They start a series tomorrow night in Colorado against the Rockies. It's going to be Randy Vasquez going for the Padres, and the Rockies don't know who's pitching yet. First pitch, though, is set for 5:40 tomorrow night. In NBA news, Victor Wembanyama captured the Defensive Player of the Year award today. He was the first ever unanimous winner and was also the youngest winner of the award in the league's history. Right now, with just about 10 minutes to go in the second half, it is Cleveland 61, Toronto 49. And with about 4 minutes to go in the first quarter, New York is up over Atlanta 20-13. Later tonight at 7:30, we got Timberwolves Nuggets game 2. Game 2 of the Rockets Lakers series is tomorrow night, which you can hear right here on San Diego Sports 760, beginning at 7:15. We will have the tip at 7:30. Wait until you hear this. You could save hundreds by switching to AARP Auto Insurance from The Hartford. Visit trusthartford.com. The Hartford, your protection is their passion. The Hartford Insurance Group Incorporated pays royalty fees to AARP for the use of its intellectual property. AARP and its affiliates are non-insurers. Savings vary.
All right, San Diego Sports 760, Schaefer and Sliwa. Just Schaefer right now. But if you missed it earlier, we caught up with Kevin Acee, our Padres Insider, and we started it with an update on the timeline. Is there an update on the timeline on the official sale of the Padres?
Well, like they've been vetted. They're at least them. It's a group, and I think that we also need to remember. And I hear all sorts of things. So, but there's a difference between what I can report versus what I hear. But I'm fairly certain too they're not buying the entire thing. So it's important for us to remember that they are buying a portion of the Padres at a $3.9 billion valuation. Some of the current owners are gonna stay on, is my understanding. And so, like, I'm assuming all that's gotten figured out. But like MLB has to sift through all of the owners, the paperwork, the vetting process. So there is still a little bit to go. I don't know, but I'm not anticipating an official announcement like this week, I should say. Right. Maybe I'm wrong, but like 4 or 5 days. Obviously, this was leaked by somebody who wanted to get it out there. I don't think that it's like, we're going to have an announcement later this afternoon.
Kevin, just because it has been a few days, have you learned anything different about new ownership? Anything there that's good information that you think is relevant? I know that's obviously it's a huge talking point now. Everybody wants to kind of start jumping to conclusions, and this is who he is. Learned anything different?
Yeah, I haven't, partially because I cover a baseball team. But also because it's kind of, I don't want to say conflicting, but like, there's not a lot of information out there. And then it's like, you're wondering, so how much is Jose Feliciano involved with Chelsea? Because there's a lot going on with Chelsea. Plus, I don't think most of us in the United States familiar with American sports leagues understand exactly how soccer teams are run, and you sell players and like all this different stuff. Like, so I'm actually more confused than I was about Jose Feliciano's sports team involvement. What I have learned is like there's some local ownership, and there were some local entities or people that I think were not like Feliciano specific. Like they wanted to be involved with whoever. So that'll be interesting as we all are able to confirm that. And my understanding that the Feliciano Brown family, his wife, Jones, I'm sorry, Kwanzaa Jones. I heard someone refer to as Brown. Now it's in my head. Darn it. But Kwanzaa Jones, they're very active in philanthropy. My gosh, it's been a long couple days. Philanthropy, and that their plan is to continue, what the Padres have built here in San Diego. Now, again, as I've said before, all of this is words, and I've seen a little bit of the jumping to conclusions on a lot of things. And hey, if that floats your boat, go for it. I say that we've got to wait to see how things play out.
Let's get to the baseball team you've been covering. Kevin Acee is our Padres insider. He's with us right now as the Padres get ready for the Rockies. This is like the beginning of the longest stretch of elevation games in baseball history, because the Padres are playing 3 in Denver and then 2 in Mexico City. It's maybe an opportunity for guys like Manny or Toddy to get going. What you wrote today in your newsletter is kind of fascinating. Like Manny's OPS 630, Merrill's OPS 667. Let me just look up Tatis 644. Yet they're 13-2 in the last 15 games. What does it just speak to? How have they done it? You've watched all these games. How are they doing this?
Well, your first reaction is, because I will say this, that like Bogart's had some big hits and he is hitting. Manny has had a couple big hits. Toddy has had big hits. Now they're singles, but he's had big hits. Well, one big double in Fenway. Merrill has had some big hits. So like, I don't think it's a mirage, because that's one of the possibilities, right? Like when you have a team whose stars, the guys paid not to hit 300, but to regularly get big hits and you know, to have their statistics be relatively like they normally are. If that's not happening and a team is winning in a short burst, that can be concerning, or you go, you know what, this is not sustainable. But what I think is happening, I'm wary because I still think it's a small sample size, but because of those contributions by these guys with their terrible numbers that have still contributed, and then the bottom of the order stepping up and different guys stepping up and Ramon Laureano stepping up, and they're melding the pitching with the defense, with the offense, so that on a game where they only score 2, only 1 run is scored against them. What I think is happening based on all that is, well, they might actually be a pretty decent team. They might be a deeper lineup than they have had and that most teams have. They might be fairly good. Now you're asking me, and I'm focusing offense, because I still think that we've got some big concerns with the starting pitching. If you want to talk about an illusion or, you know, a small sample size and something that we probably shouldn't get too far ahead of ourselves until we see how this starting rotation plays out. But in terms of their being able to win, is it what now, 13 of 15, 10 of 11, have the second best record in baseball? And the offense, I think it's because they're better than they have been in recent years.
Kevin Acee, our Padres insider here on the Schaefer and Sliwa show, 760, San Diego Sports 760. Kevin, you know, we were having a little bit of a conversation about, it's so easy right now to look at the Major League Baseball standings and where are they overall? Where are they in the National League? John and I were talking about how I look at it one way. I don't think I look at, hey, the goal is to win the division. And that primarily just has to do with the Dodgers have dominated the division. When you look at just this team and just the regular season, is there a little bit of a, hey, just get to the playoffs? Can you have home field advantage if you get in the divisional front round? Obviously, they had that opportunity last year and kind of lost it in the final couple of weeks. How do you look at the big picture in the regular season for the Padres? What do you think is the right maybe goals you can say to set for this team that are realistic?
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't think you think about the division. Is it impossible? No, it's not impossible. Especially if the Dodgers played more at Coors Field. Maybe that's how they could balance the playing field, is have the Dodgers play at Coors Field. You never know what's going to happen there with anyone. Yeah, sure. Get that home series. Get it for the bottom line, because you're going to make money rather than lose money. You lose money when you go on the road in the first round. It's not a lot, but that's the difference between making money and losing money. And the Padres can use the money. And you're just going to be better off. You're the home field advantage. It's real in the playoffs, generally speaking. And so it's real for the Padres, generally speaking. So get that home field. How do I look at the regular season? Well, this is how I've come to look at the regular season. And maybe, especially this year with new ownership coming in and the optimism that there is there that the purse strings will be a little looser. But the last 2 years, how do I look at the regular season? Well, how are you guys going to do in the first 2.5 months so that AJ Preller can decide how he's going to make the team better in July? That's how I look at the regular season. Like, this team is almost certainly not a complete picture yet. Obviously, because the players that are on it, have to settle into the season. We have to see what they become. But we now know how AJ Preller goes about constructing a team. Get some guys, get yourself a pitcher or two or whatever in the spring. Find a surprise position player in the spring, and then add to your team May, June, July, and before the trade deadline. And that is how roster construction for the Padres goes.
Kevin, I feel like every 2 days we'll ask about Mason Miller until there's a reason not to ask about Mason Miller.
What has he done?
Exactly. What has he done? What he's done is not allow anything. I would almost frame it like what played out Saturday, like it was some like absurd situation where there were two base runners and he didn't allow a run. I would argue it's probably beneficial because you're not going to have every single inning be, 3 up, 3 down with 2+ strikeouts. That's an impossibility. We can all agree on that. Is that a fair thing to say that, being tested, so to speak, in a safe situation is going to be beneficial long run for Miller?
I think it is. And then I think that also it points out, like, first off, how dominant he is. It's getting boring to write about how dominant he is. Oh, hey, thanks, Mason, for being less than dominant.
Right.
So that we can talk about that. But then yesterday he was talking about, and I love to always be reminded about this. I think I'm better than most because I'm around it all the time. But especially pitchers look at games so much differently than the rest of us. We are results-based. And we might know a lot about results. We might be able to break down the metrics, but we are results-based. And Mason Miller talked yesterday about, did he, was he harder on himself? Did he scrutinize that game on Saturday where he walked the batter and allowed a hit? But not really, because he's looking at every outing with a discerning eye and saying, oh, got away with one there. Oh, that pitch was really good. Can't believe that guy didn't swing at it. I'm going to go back to that pitch. Oh, I liked this mix right there. And that's what they're doing. It's the same thing when a guy can come out of a game, a starter can come out of a game and say, man, I felt good. I liked my stuff. And he gave up 4 runs in 4 innings. And you're like, what are you talking about? It's that same mentality. They look at things so differently. But it's like, I'm not sure if I explained it right, but I'm with you, John, where like it is good. It's like good for Mason Miller, and it's good for the rest of us. Just to like kind of lock in.
Kevin, final one for me, and as always, obviously appreciate you joining the show. Matt Waldron gets the start. Obviously, we know the injury with Nick Pivetta. How do you think they manage the starters right now over the course of however long Pivetta's out for? Obviously, a big blow there, but how do you feel how they navigate this and keep their head above water with some of the injuries that they have?
Well, it's going to complicate things. And by the way, John, not the longest stretch of games in altitude in history, because the Rockies played in Mexico City a couple of years ago.
Good point.
And
but
so
kind of non-Rocky team.
Went home. Yes.
Yeah.
No team other than the Padres has ever been as fortunate.
Right. Exactly.
But that's going to make it difficult. Like, okay, Matt Waldron gets rocked again in his next start.
Good point.
Well, what are we reading into that? Or Michael King has a bad outing, or Randy Vasquez has a bad outing. Both of them, by the way, have pitched pretty well at Coors Field, and not every time, but they have before. So that's good. And I'm not sure what they're going to do with the how they're going to line up the rotation. They've got today's off day and they've got Friday's off day, but like everyone's going to have to pitch at either 5,200 or 7,300 feet above sea level here in the next week. So that complicates things. And then from my understanding, and of course I've been asking about it, it's kind of, you've still got a few more starts to still see what's real about Matt Waldron, what's real about Erman Vasquez, or Erman Marquez. By the way, did I say it's been a long few days? So I'm very sorry about that. But they're still in the evaluation process. There's not anyone out there, though I understand Lucas Giolito's God's gift to pitching. There's not anyone out there that is a instant. By the way, Lucas Giolito would need a little work. So he's not going to be pitching for you until late May anyway. But there's no one out there that, pour some water, stir, and you just got yourself a number 2 starter. There isn't without some great expenditure of prospects or, money or both. So they're in kind of a wait and see and evaluate mode.
Kevin, always appreciate it. We will catch up with you later in the week from Denver and then later in the week from potentially Mexico City. So thanks for doing it, as always.
Right on. Hopefully I get some sleep before the podcast, John. That could be a mess with where I'm at. All right, man. We'll see you.
Take a nap.
Thank you, Kevin.
Thanks, Kevin. That was Kevin Acee, by the way. The whole nap thing, maybe we can get into that on the other side. The whole nap thing, as if like we've been talking about it or something.
You know what? I'm kind of feel like there's a person that if you take a nap, if you don't take a nap, it kind of defines a little bit.
It defines a person if they nap or not.
They're just,
Interesting. All right, that's next. Don't go anywhere. Don't leave your car. This is Schaefer and Slee on San Diego Sports 760 and live on the iHeartRadio app. All right, final time here. Schaefer and Sliwa,
This is it.
San Diego Sports 760. This is it. Final time. Show 15. That's all she wrote.
Thank you, man.
See, I'm keeping track of the shows, not just the weeks, because I know we missed a day.
We did. We had a
National
Monday
championship
national
game.
championship game. Yep.
So this
I
is our
still-
fourth week, but it's really not.
I still showed up here.
Did you?
Yeah. Sat
see
here because you weren't here. I showed up here. I sat here from 3 to 6.
Just to like prove the point.
Not missing a day.
You're valuable.
You know what I saw on that side?
No one.
Not a soul.
I know. It's my
Brett was there.
I know he was.
We
He was
did it
working,
together.
Probably. You did it
All right, give me your nap.
nap theory.
What's your?
Well,
what's
you
your
say
nap?
there's two types of people: people
Yeah.
that nap and people that don't nap, and you can tell a
It's
lot about
almost.
someone.
I don't know if I have that strong of a take on it, but it's more. I think people who can nap and people who are like mentally have this hurdle of they can't nap. I don't nap.
Do you? Okay.
I'd like to nap.
You know,
I feel. I wish.
I'll
I
nap.
envy those that nap.
Have you ever been to the zoo?
Yeah.
You see the animals there?
Yep.
What do they do all day?
Nap during the day.
Thank you.
Yeah, but
And
you know
these
why?
and they're alive. And by the way, lions nap all day, and they're still king
Yeah.
of the jungle.
You're right.
So they figured it out.
Sure. We're also not lions, nor are we
Wait, what?
in the Serengeti.
That's a fair point. My point is, if it's good for lions, I could take 15 minutes.
But you have the ability to do it.
The ability. You're saying you can't even do it.
I don't think I can do it.
What if
Try.
don't you ever have that moment in your day where you're like, I am deathly tired?
Yes.
Let's say you're sitting there, seriously, Saturday afternoon, you're watching a couple of NBA playoff games. You're just sitting there, seriously.
Okay.
And you're like, this game's awful. I don't want to deal with this. You're watching Masters Sunday and it's the 9th hole for the
Love
leaders.
it. This is
I
perfect.
just want to pass out.
Perfect setups. Can't
Don't
fall
you wanna-
asleep.
Really?
Yeah.
What are you doing? Just sitting there
Yeah.
watching?
Like, well, if you're saying yesterday's a good example. Yesterday I was watching, let's just say Padres and Angels were not the most exciting
no,
game
they weren't
yesterday.
thrilling the last two games.
Wasn't thrilling at all. And I also had this training thing to do that I told you
Yeah,
about. I
for
think the
work.
deadline was today to do it. It's
Okay.
a 2-hour freaking training.
It's a
2-hour
very long
training.
time.
So anyway, so I'm doing all that. Yeah, I felt tired. Just couldn't go to bed. So when you try to take a nap, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, however long,
Very
do you
rarely
fall
longer
asleep?
than 40.
Do you fall asleep right away?
Nah, in 4 to 7 minutes. Seriously. I'm
What is-
out in
what is
4
this
minutes.
4 to 7 thing? Because I asked you how long are naps.
I'm
You
very
said
specific,
39.
I'm trying to describe what it's like. Like sometimes that's me telling you sometimes 35, sometimes 44.
Okay.
So, and how long does it take me to pass out during a nap? I'm out in 4 to 7 minutes. Going to sleep at night, it could take much longer than 4 to 7 minutes to fall asleep, depending on the night. There's nights I'm out in 4 to 7 minutes. How long does it take you to fall asleep? Normal night.
20, 30 minutes.
20, yeah.
But I'll throw the
20
TV
minutes.
on.
TV?
Yeah.
Oh, I'll never do that.
What are you talking about?
No,
You don't watch
I'll
any
listen-
TV before going to bed?
Well, I watch my phone.
Well, a lot of people don't. And
I'll
it's a
listen
good
to
thing.
a podcast.
Okay.
I fall asleep with like an AirPod in. I don't think it's good for you, but
Probably
I
not
pass
good
out.
for you.
If I listen to if I'm listening to like the wrap-up show,
Yeah.
previous shows, I'm out. Because then I'm hearing myself and I'm like, what's going on?
That's
I'm
just
out.
annoying. Yeah, I can't
You
do
can't
that.
do that.
I don't like doing it. You listen to a lot of the shows, which by the way is a good idea. It's
I
good
do
to
listen.
do it.
You're looking at me like that's good.
It's pretty good.
I do. I mean,
The ego on you.
No, it's just
No,
good
I'm just
for the
kidding. No,
it's good
it's
for the
good.
gig. I
Absolutely.
don't listen because I'm like, I wonder what we had to say. I mean, I know what we said.
Did it sound good or did it not sound good? That's the bigger
the
question.
first 3 weeks of the show?
Yeah.
Oh, I threw my AirPods out No, this was great because I was falling asleep. Here's the mark of a good show. For me, if I'm on it, I can fall asleep.
Okay.
I will put myself to sleep with my voice.
I'll
all the time.
throw something on the TV. I'll fall asleep. But
What do you
going
mean something like the Tonight Show?
No, a lot of it's YouTube. I watch anything on YouTube.
Yeah,
it could be some dude 20-minute show and he's
Yeah.
cooking something and I'm like,
I'll watch that. That looks good.
Some travel thing. Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. Wow.
Watch anything.
Let's do this again tomorrow.
Let's do it tomorrow. And
All
then
right.
you know what? Let's also do it Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday.
Brian Dutcher joins us Thursday. Kyle Newman from the Denver Post tomorrow gets us ready for Padres and Rockies at 4:30. All right, if you missed anything today, go to sportsst.com or the iHeartRadio app or iTunes, TuneIn Radio, or Spotify. For Brent and Alan, I'm John. This is Schaefer and Sliwa on San Diego Sports 760. We're live on the iHeartRadio app. Peace.